Welcome to Stoic and Steel. Today we have Dan. Tell us about yourself.
What do you want to know?
So Stoic and Steel is our main mission is to provide guidance for those who want it from extraordinary everyday people. So I think that there's a big testimony of your story of where you started out, where you found direction throughout life and bumped around, and then so tell us the beginning of what you wanted to do in life from out of high school or before, and then that path that rocketed you to where you're at now. That's a long story, but it's just your story.
That's a long story. I mean, my beginning, my origin started. I was adopted
From where?
from South Korea.
Yeah.
And so I have an interesting upbringing. You know, my folks who were like blue collar people. My dad was actually, his father was an entrepreneur originally from Ellis Island, and grew a big farming society out in Idaho, of all places. So, you know, we were brought, my brother and I, my biological brother, were brought here from South Korea at a young age. Had the orphanage thing and all that stuff. We're blessed enough to have a great family that brought us in.
Yeah.
And we spent a couple years in Idaho, and my mom, it drove her crazy that we were like the news article for like 2 to 3 weeks
in
straight.
Idaho.
Yeah, we were on the front page of the paper. We were like the heartwarming story on the news every single night. Like, they were interviewing us, interviewing them, interviewing the family. And she said she couldn't go anywhere in the whole state of Idaho without people being like, "Is that the Asian kids?"
Really?
You know, so she got, I mean, it's Mormon out there. It's very, this is back in the 80s too.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
What part of Idaho? You were in Rock?
Pocatello, which is like it's probably the third or fourth largest city outside of Boise.
Yeah.
But it's country, and it's probably a little redneckish. And they were like, we don't want this for them. So they sold everything. They had businesses, they had a bar, their house, and they moved us to Oregon. So that was probably back in the early 90s.
Up to Portland
area. Yeah. So we grew up out here in Portland, kind of bounced around. We lived in the country for a while in North Plains and stuff like that. But it was a really interesting upbringing, like being, you know, I was so young, but like, you know, as you grow older, you kind of wonder, like, my parents are American and I'm Asian, so there's probably questions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was a real curious kid. You know, I was like in like all the funny clubs and stuff, like math club and spelling bee type stuff growing up. So I really
academically,
smart, I was really smart as a young kid. It wasn't until like years later that like I had like such a big passion for probably health and fitness, I think. That kind of grew on me towards like high school, which has kind of changed the whole trajectory of my life. You know, my family was, and I think most families, you know, like they have some people that are probably unhealthy. There's always going to be somebody in your family that's unhealthy, or, you know, drinks, or especially these days in this day and age, like does drugs or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we kind of like had like a family meeting of like, we need to kind of like change like how the kids are eating. Everybody's eating, you know, fast food and frozen food and drinking pop and soda. Like I was probably drinking like 7 sodas a day.
Well, just that alone, just changing the way you eat will change the way you feel, think, everything around you, and help the people around you as well. It's
for sure.
It's amazing what nutrition does.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we kind of, like I said, we flipped the script. I started playing sports in like middle school, high school. Really had that natural affinity for like, I was motivated by like some type of goal, right? Whether it was like winning in sports or eventually, you know, turning my body into a something more healthy.
Yeah.
You know, because we get more conscious and stuff, girls and all that kind of stuff as we get older.
Did you ever get into bodybuilding or any?
You know, I had a short stint in it. In the very beginning. So I went to school out here, moved to LA at a young age, like 21-ish, 22 after school. And it's big out there. I mean, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, you have Venice Beach, you have Muscle Beach. It's
like there in Vegas.
all the NPC, all the supplement community, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit, which is what I'm in now. It's the biggest. That's where it is in California. So being out there, like, and then when I first moved out there, me and one of my best friends, we lived in Hollywood, and you think of Hollywood like this glamorous, like really cool, like the stars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not that, it's a lot of partying, a lot of drugs, and it kind of reminds me of like, look at like Vegas. Vegas at night, you think of like this beautiful, like all the casino lights and all this fun stuff. But
Yeah.
what does it look like in the day?
Yeah, it's a desert
It
and
looks
dry,
like
and
crap.
yeah,
It doesn't look too fun. It's not a
Yeah.
place you want your kids to be seeing,
yeah,
But I got out there, and I had a short stint in the I did like kind of like a master's program for business, music, and all this kind of stuff, and was in the music business for a little while out there, which, man, I mean, in a different life.
yeah.
I love that business. It was fantastic. Learned a lot, got to work with a lot of really cool people.
So you went to school for
I was doing like a music business, like kind of master's program
in college? Yeah.
and I got like an internship, right? And I was at like, I did Fox, and then I worked for this company that was like a subsidiary of like NBC, right? So we basically cleared music. We were a publishing house. So if you were like,
What does that mean? Clear music.
so
Like,
let's just say you were like a country singer,
Yeah.
and like I owned your catalog.
Yeah.
Paeden Underwood, like like the hit songwriter from Oregon,
Yeah.
and you called me. I'm Dan, and I'm basically the licensing coordinator of your music.
Uh-huh.
You'd call me and be like, "Hey, bro, like I want you to manage my catalog." So if you were somebody that like people actually, you know, wanted to like play your music or something like that, and this was something that I never even knew about, because I got a call one time. I was like, "What the heck?" Some girl from Iowa called me, like being like, "Hey, we want to use." Journey's music or something for like a, just like some type of like music hall concert for like
Yeah.
80 people or something. You have to pay for that. You have to
Because of royalties towards that song that
copyright infringement. You can't just go play somebody's music and make money on it without paying them.
Okay, they were making money on it.
Something.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
hey, $10 a ticket or something.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
if you're in the bathroom in the urinal
And
at
it's
LA
playing.
Fitness and it's playing, you're getting paid. If you're in the car, you're getting paid. If you're, a ringtone, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And so we're basically like the middleman between the person that, like the songwriter, who come to find out they make the most money. Like the guys writing the song. That's why Taylor Swift is so rich. She writes, she plays, she tours, she's got merch, she does it all. But like, you look at like Bieber in the beginning, like he didn't write his own stuff.
Yeah.
He's probably making 10%.
Oh, really?
Probably.
Yeah.
Like the publishing house probably owned 40%. The
Yeah.
producer owned 20-30%. The manager took 10%. The label took 10%. He got 10.
And now that's kind of flipped with people producing themselves through.
They've
like,
gotten smarter over the
Yeah.
years. I mean, look at Dr. Dre. He's smart. He's
Yeah.
the producer. So like, if you go work with Dr. Dre, he's like, I want 50% to do your track
Yeah.
because my name's on it. I'm going to blow you up. Right. But like a lot of these guys, I feel like working in the business for the time that I did, you learn that like the songwriters, they really move the market, that and the label.
hmm
But like they promise you all this stuff. Like, oh, you're on this 50-50 co-pub deal with the label, but then the producer wants 10%. Then you're, like I said, your
Yeah,
manager
yeah.
wants 10%. The lawyer wants 5%.
That's-
Somebody else wants 10%. Now you're left with 10% at the end of it.
Yeah.
And you're the face of the business, the label. You're the one touring, and singing the music. So if you're if you are talented enough to be in those sessions, because we would be able to get invited to like sessions and stuff. And I met some really great friends of mine in the business that like, that used to write for like Rihanna and stuff like that. And
No kidding.
I'd go hang out with these guys. But that's what like kind of brought me back home with like the health and fitness again.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a very unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never sleep, you never eat. If you do eat, it's probably bad stuff.
Yeah. On the run. How did you make the jump in the connections to be surrounded in those circles of influence?
I think especially in 2025, it's probably even harder than doing it in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
And you kind of have this kind of personality trait too. You're a personable person. You have a likable personality. So like people probably just gravitate wanting to be around you. I mean, I don't know if that's correct or
I'm just
not.
curious.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
what do you got going on?
I just think that I'm an open person,
Yeah.
and I think that I'm approachable. I mean, we've probably seen people that are unapproachable, men or women in our lives.
Yeah.
And I think like it's like a timing thing. Like I worked for a big clearinghouse, and then when I went to like some of these Christmas parties or went out with my buddy Jay, who was big time, I'd be out with the right people, and then you just make a connection with somebody.
Yeah.
And then they want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And then you kind of follow up with that. Like I said, one thing that's kept me going over the years is I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm like, hey, man, how did you become an engineer? Like, how does songwriting work? Like, like how do you live in this house that's owned by like there's a songwriting group that I used to hang out with. They're called the Jackie Boys. You can look them up. They're really big, but they were living at this house in the Hollywood Hills, with basically like I don't know what the lady was to them, but she basically was like funding their project. So she had this giant house in the hills, and like they had like their whole living quarters and like studio out there. I think she was a lawyer or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe she was just like an investor in their brand.
Yeah.
She wasn't their manager because I knew who their manager was. But that's like a normal thing out in LA. Like you get these rich people that are like, oh, I'll co-sign on you. Like, let me build this for you and go do your thing.
Yeah.
Or like, you're starting a brand here. I'll put 10 million into it.
Yeah.
And like, they're not thinking about it. They're just thinking about like the
helping
end result.
People out. Or yeah.
They're just thinking about the end result. But, the music business is a very interesting world, and it's changed a lot. But back to your point, I think nowadays, like, you can't even have conversations with people anymore. They're all just looking at their phones or just,
yeah.
I was, training a new kid, and not to put him on blast or nothing, but I was training a kid down at one of my businesses in LA recently. And I was asking all my new hires to read back to me. And I was talking to my business partners. I'm like, dude, these guys don't even know how to read.
Oh, because they're just looking at videos.
People just don't know how to read anymore. Like, know how to like read out loud. I mean, when we were kids, we were reading out loud in elementary school and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like fun.
I don't know about fun. I hated when my name got called.
I know. But I was the nerd. I was the nerd that like my teacher had to say like, don't read so fast. Because like at my elementary school, if you were called on and you read, and then the person following you didn't pick up where you left off, like they were like subject to like having like penalty time off their recess.
Oh wow!
And I was like that nerdy of a kid. Like, I'm gonna penalize somebody because I'm gonna read so fast. Like that's how freaking weak I was back then. Like, I was just a nerd.
Yeah.
I look back now, I'm like, God, that's so messed up. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like, But these kids can't even read.
Yeah.
They can't think for themselves. They think if they come from money, they think everything should just be given to them.
Handed to them, yeah.
They don't understand like work ethic. I mean,
yeah.
Not saying people from Oregon do either, but I have a lot of really great friends, or I meet people out here that they get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't even go turn over a piece of wood without being scared of some bugs under there or something.
Right. Which is such a foreign world to me. It's like, that's what you have to do.
That's
right?
what I did growing up.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost, work ethic can be, I think it's mainly taught, shown.
It's true.
And you have to take a standard and set yourself to that standard and work up to that standard, or you're not ever gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of it. There's two sides of it, like my dad was like a blue collar. He owned his own business. We grew up like in the country, but I was a curious kid. Like I like to get dirty. I feel like I was one of the last blacktop kids, right? Our generation.
Yeah.
Like mom would say dinner's at 8, 7 o'clock and be home by the time it's dark. And we just go out and run ragged and ride our bikes, rollerblade, like get dirty, catch snakes, and do stuff like that. Play basketball. Now these kids are just on their phones or they're playing Call of Duty, and like they're just like they're just in this little bubble of like Snapchat and stuff like that. But work ethic, I think it can be given to you, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to take it in either.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have siblings. I mean, I don't know if you have siblings, or I don't know if there's other people out there that have siblings that like they've been taught something really great from a family member, and then the other ones don't follow suit.
Yeah.
And
Where do you think you get your work ethic from? Just
for sure
always
my
have,
dad.
yeah.
For sure my dad like that.
You saw it, and then you just have that kind of performance mentality.
Again, I think it's just instilled in you at a
Yeah.
young age. Like at a young age, I was a curious person. I
Yeah.
got hurt. I played sports. My brothers were all older. Like I got my freaking,
Yeah.
I got beat up.
Yeah.
I'd be out there taking, fastballs to the back, get right up,
Yeah.
And I was a big kid too growing up. So playing basketball, like if I hit the ground, if I hit the concrete, like I'm getting right back up.
Yeah.
I'm in your face, and I'm having a good time doing it. But like, again, like nowadays, I feel like people are a lot more soft.
Yeah.
We have calloused hands.
Right.
Like there's some years on our skin, and but intellectually too, that's also something too. That, like I said, that was the other side. There's the physical, determined side, like. Like I want to be in the army growing up, and then you take that mentality and take it into business or sports or whatever. But then there's these people that like, you know, I have some clients from China that I used to keep in touch with a lot, and they were just billionaires. And you know, one of their daughters was a client of mine for years in LA, and she was going to like USC or something, grad school, and she's just like, I hate this stuff. Like I don't even want to take over the business. Like I just want to start my own business. Right. But
Yeah.
like she was like from like a young age, she was groomed. Like she was going to USC. She had gone to Berkeley before that. Like smart, and everything's paid for too. I mean, if your parents are billionaires, like you
Yeah.
probably got your own chef and cook, and everybody's putting your clothes out every day. But like, you get people like her who's just like, I want to break away from the family business and start my own business path. And her dad's just like, I'm grooming you to take over $1 billion freaking dynasty,
Yeah.
and they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for us on the outside that don't really understand that world. Like people, like, I would kill for that. And it's like, you think you would.
Yeah.
You think you would, but like behind the scenes, like this girl has been like probably knows 5 languages, does ballet, plays freaking 3 different instruments. She's, her whole day's, completely freaking spelled out on a schedule, and only 0.001% of the world wants to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Live that way. And so, yeah.
They think they do. They just only see the planes and the cool stuff and the fun stuff. They don't see all the time it took to get there.
Yeah.
Or the kids don't appreciate it either. Like the dad that built the $1 billion dynasty, like they're all like moping around like, oh, this is something. But like, I think at the end of the day, we're all human. If it was me, I'd have a conversation with my dad. I'd be like, I don't want to do it, dude. Like, are you going to help me? Because this is my dream. Yeah. And I think if you had a conversation with your family, I mean, I can't speak for her or anybody else I've ever met, but that's where our personalities are, like me and you probably are maybe different. I'm like, dude, like you got $1 billion, bro. Like just give me some.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me go to school for free.
Yeah.
Help me like, establish a base, like, help me with my rent if I'm in college or something like that. And then like, I might need a little bit of cash to start my business, but like, this is what's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And I think if parents recognize that, they would, they'd do it for you if you were clear with your expectations, and like, I want your actual guidance.
Yeah.
I'm sure people that happens, but like at the same time too, there's probably a lot of people out there that they don't get that love from their family. It's like that tough love. It's like you either do it or you don't, or they're like cut off.
Yeah. Or that they just don't have the relationship.
They don't have the relationship
to voice what they truly want out of life and go from there. Because you could easily set up a business of that size where it kind of takes care of itself, and you can just which levers to pay attention to, and you won't be making as much money.
Yeah,
because there'll be other people in charge of those things. But
I'm surprised. I mean, I think the game has changed yet again over time with the way that like things are seen, right away with Facebook and like these, whether it's in law or like in entertainment or whatever, like news moves fast now.
Yeah.
But like, it still happens, but like, it's like the sports guys, like that show Going Broke. it's like these guys have so many outlets now to like make money where like there's things that are turnkey where I'm surprised when people make $100 million and go broke.
Yeah.
Unless they lose all their money gambling or in the stock market or something. But like with businesses, like there's so many turnkey businesses out there nowadays that like you just go buy 100 McDonald's and
Yeah.
you never lose money,
Yeah.
you know?
Which that's a good segue into franchising. Well, first let's talk about just the nutrition end of things, of how you got into fitness and adolescence. Obviously, you
Yeah.
went that way. How did you really start pursuing nutrition? And because you're a franchisor of
Yeah,
NutriShop.
I'm a franchisee, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of a national brand. It's called NutriShop.
Yeah.
They've been around since 2003. We're
Which,
kind of like a big family, you
yeah.
know?
Which I got introduced to NutriShop down in New Mexico when I was going to college.
Yeah.
And the difference in the supplements, this is something that I want to get into as well, is it was noticeably different than anything that I bought off of bodybuilding.com and this, that, and the other. And then it also, part of it, I don't know if it was part of the marketing or just the brand itself, is that you couldn't find any of those supplements unless they were at NutriShop.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating, but that's where I wanted to go. And so when I started working out again up here, and that's how we met, is because I was like, I got to find a NutriShop. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to optimize my nutrition and
Yeah.
my health through this. And this is a reputable brand that I know and trust and love. And so that's how, ran into you, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Their business model has evolved yet again over the years. Like they were, and not to get too much into the business side of it, but they were like a licensing program. So you just kind of use their name in the beginning. Now they're like a full blown franchise, which has like more protection, you'd say. But their brands that you're talking about, it's pretty genius. And other companies do this. Like they have like their loyalty brands or like their exclusive companies that they work with. And so for a little bit of history, like the very beginning of my bodybuilding or health career was like I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think everybody,
Yeah.
I mean, anybody our age that like knew
Yeah.
bodybuilding loved Arnold growing up. And I read the
Or,
book
yeah.
and
Watch his movies.
watched his movie. His movies were my favorites. I mean, Predator, my favorite movie of
Yeah.
all time still, 30 years later. But GNC was back in the day, like they were the big force. And so like when we were growing up, they were really the first brand to like do like the exclusivity stuff. So they went to, MRI, who was like the owner of Black Powder back then, like NO2, CE2, Black Powder. Remember NO Explode?
Yeah, yeah.
So like they bought rights like for let's just say 5 years to be like the exclusive provider of that company. And then when that expired, it got blown out and like everybody started carrying it. So I think that's kind of what some of these smart brands do now is like they only work with specific companies or they outsource, like in some of the products that you love, like the clinical doses of like exact amounts of product. And then they'll formulate around that with their nutritional scientists or their formulators that they have on the back end. And they just come out with these really great products that frankly, anybody could do it, but I just think a lot of companies, I don't think that it's not they're smart enough. They just don't care, you know? So like in a franchise like mine, like they're taking advice from other franchisees. Like they're doing research. They're trying to evolve with the times because they have to, because new ingredients are coming out. Science is getting better. So like people have access to a lot of these ingredients, but some of them too they're expensive. So like you look at GNC, who's like, they still have amped whey protein and it hasn't changed in 20 years. And then you have some other companies, it's like they take the same type of formula and they add something to it. So like this game is really it's a piggybacking business.
Yeah.
It's like you take what Bucked Up did and everybody does it. The 3.2 beta alanine, the 6 grams of citrulline, like that's like the gold standard now. You take the hydro away, like Diamondized ISO 100, and then everybody does it. And then one company does 1 extra gram of protein. Then another company adds digestive enzymes.
Just to change it from that 1%, just slightly different.
Some tweak, some new marketing scheme on it, some new Insta girl or influencer.
Yeah.
And that can change that, that can be how you deliver new products. Look at Sebum. Guy's a genius. I mean,
Yeah.
6-time Olympia, 7, whatever the hell he was. And you look at his product, the Thavage, that pre-workout, like that, it's the 2 scoop product that everybody hates now. I mean, I love it because I'm getting more product, but they're all like 20 servings, and people are like, what, 20 servings? But it's like you can't fit that much product unless somebody's eventually gonna do like a big mega scoop,
Yeah.
1 scoop product, and it's gonna be 20 servings. But everybody followed suit after that. So like people see in this industry like what somebody else is doing, or a new ingredient comes out, and then like when it eventually becomes more mainstream, it's like it's in everything. So it's like, how do you level up? And I think that's what NutriShop has actually done pretty well
Yeah.
over the years, is they've kind of been ahead of the curve.
Especially in like adding mushrooms and things of that nature into different supplements. That's been a
flavoring, different types of cutting edge ingredients that people haven't heard of before, or you know, we're basically like the formulators guinea pigs in a sense. Like I mean, I've had probably 1 million clients in my career.
Yeah.
And I say this quite a bit, like most of them have been happy, you know? I haven't had many people come back, but man, that was terrible. And if they had, it was probably because it was an allergic reaction or some type of digestive issue, or maybe they didn't mix it right, or they didn't like the flavor or something.
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about having a good product. It's like having a good burger or something else. Like if you know you're dishing out something nice, it's like there's always going to be somebody that complains.
How do you, because the supplement industry across the board, it's pretty wild west in that there's no real regulation, to my understanding. Like you can really put out there, like I've heard different creatines will test with testosterone in them and things of that nature, just different performance enhancing drugs within the creatine. And to ensure purity, is that something that NutriShop as a whole, or you as the franchisee, are looking at for what you're selling and things of that nature, the purity and where it all comes from?
It's a good question.
I
I think that the business itself, nutrition or weight loss, whatever you want to call it, it gets a bad rap, for a plethora of different reasons. Like you have like the illegal substances that were in the 80s and 90s with like phentermine and fen-phen and Huang and ephedra and steroids. And I think when people want to bash the sports nutrition business or the vitamin world, they look back at like some of these things that are like, at scale, like people got hurt, stuff happened because of regulation and stuff like that. But again, like times have changed. And I also think too that like a lot of it is like it's hearsay. It's like me telling you what happened. It's like, where is like the published data these people are looking for? Are they looking at like Florida Atlantic or John Hopkins? Are they pulling it from like the Cleveland Clinic? Like this information's probably anecdotal, or it's like from a forum or a gym bro. It's like, oh, creatine's really bad because of this and this and this and this. But it is true. There in the very beginning in the 2000s, there was very little regulation, so people were just putting out like all the pro hormones that hurt, some of my college buddies. And it wasn't necessarily just the companies, but it was also the resellers. The resellers weren't educated enough either to be like, hey, this kid's buying a pro hormone that's going to probably drop his testosterone. And I'm not selling them. I'm not foreshadowing the future being like, hey man, you need to come back and buy a post-cycle therapy and buy a liver resetter. They're just like, here, one sale and like, bye. And they never see you again. And like, then 5 years later, testosterone's at 0. They weren't educating people enough either. And that's where,
or they didn't have the education to
that either. They were just selling stuff because it was supposed to be the best seller at Vitamin Shop or something like that. And you had Trend 500, and then all these people get hurt. But that's where, and I hate to say it, I mean, being from California, that's really where the big shift happened with like Prop 65 and like, known in the state of California.
What's that?
It's like all those labels now that say like on products or on like bottled drinks or even like in garages now, like there's chemicals in this garage that like known in the state of California can cause like birth defects, cancer, side effects, stuff like that. And that's on everything now.
Like the Surgeon General warning type.
Anything, and those are put out there now because of all the plaintiff lawsuits all those years ago. I mean, there was literally lawyers walking down grocery aisles and shopping every store in the country being like, oh, like we have something. This says burn fat. This says lose weight. This says gain muscle. Like you can't make claims and then it not do what you said. So like they wouldn't hire, but they would get a group of people like us, people that had bought, I think one of the largest lawsuits ever was Muscle Milk. And if you go and look at Muscle Milk now, every single Muscle Milk bottle in the country says right on the front contains no milk, because they were like, we have thousands of people that have been saying they've been drinking this as milk.
Yeah.
Milk. And we're talking like $100 million lawsuit, maybe more. And they were like, we can go to, litigation now, or you guys can write us a check.
Yeah.
And so every bottle now says contains no milk, because they were like, we have a class action lawsuit ready to put you guys on, and they weren't gonna take that.
They knew.
They already knew. Just like lose 20 pounds in a week. Like you don't say that anymore. Every product now is plain. And that's also something that I talk about with like NutriShop and some of these other more innovative companies, is that there are companies out there that do make claims again. Like they have like data that supports it, like the KSM 66 ashwagandha, that if you take it for 30 straight days, that it will lower your cortisol by 28%. Like they're okay with that claim because that's what their studies show.
And they've done it.
They've done it. You go look up their data and it's there.
Yeah.
You go look up, peak ATP, that ingredient that's in that product that everybody buys from NutriShop, and like they make claims that like muscle output strength increase goes up by 24% when you take it.
And just for that one supplement, like it's a noticeable difference when you take it.
Yeah. But that's why these companies are getting smarter yet again. Like they're making claims again that's like proven and backed by data. So that like when people want to do their research, and if they do, it's like, cool, go check them out, because these guys are like, they're not just some like guy making it in their garage, like the bodybuilding.com days in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I again, that goes back to, the original question is like the testing and stuff. It's true. Like there are things that are tested, and there's like third party companies, there's NSF, there's like stuff for like pro athletes and stuff like that. But, I heard a really interesting thing years ago about, a football player, and he was banned for PEDs, and people think automatically like it's steroids.
Yeah.
And come to find out it was Adderall, right? Or college athletes get banned for caffeine. So like they're not supposed to be taking pre-workout, but these people were never prompted, like you shouldn't be eating a poppy seed muffin or a poppy seed cookie because it may come up as something bad in your piss test if you're in law enforcement or in the military or something like that. Or if you eat, products that have too much colostrum, that might screen as HGH.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Large amounts of colostrum. There was actually, I learned this from NutriShop, because the protein that we used to have a colostrum blend in it because it makes you more anabolic.
Yeah.
But then somebody probably used it one day and they're just like, oh, dude, like this might spike there was some type of test that came back, some type of report like, well, we got to pull this out because we have a lot of kids and college athletes that are taking our items, and we don't want to bear that, responsibility. But again, like I said, like there are things that are tested, but like the whole like steroids and creatine, there's not probably a lot of validity behind that. There are probably
anymore.
Things,
yeah. Like
potentially. I mean, that would be a really weird, rare case, because creatine is like, it's the polar opposite of anything steroidal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think for sure that like the efficacy of like protein supplements and certain products over the years have definitely been toyed with in terms of like how much protein, like a whey protein is going to yield. It says 25 grams and you're getting 10 and your stomach hurts because it's really bad quality.
Yeah.
They're protein spiking it or whatever you want to call it. Like they're putting aminos in with the protein. It's like it's puffing it up a little bit. That happened
Yeah.
for sure. But like some of these other things, like, I would say in the more rare instances with like certain types of pre-workouts or stimulant type based products, like that's really where like regulations started kicking in because
Yeah. What was that major pre-workout that was set? It was
Jack 3D.
yeah, Jack 3D. Yeah.
Well,
That's it's like
it
sending
got the
everyone into the
mainstream
hospital.
news because there was a couple of Marines that died overseas. But like, I mean, look at what happened. These guys were in Afghanistan and it was 120 degrees. They probably had a 100-pound pack on.
Not hydrated.
They're not hydrated. They
Yeah.
drink 3 scoops of Jack 3D in the middle of the desert and drop
Yeah.
dead at some point. Like, was it the Jack 3D or was it all the other elements?
Yeah.
But like everybody's gonna always want to push the blame towards something.
Sure.
And that they probably got a bad rap for that. But I don't think anybody should, number one, be taking 3 scoops of something that stimulating, whether you're just doing yoga or in battle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you probably won't feel very good.
Absolutely.
Again, that's just negative stuff that happens.
How much does when you're working with someone who's coming into the shop for the first time, talking about they're just starting their fitness journey, or maybe it's been a break, they're getting back into it, how much do you talk to them about the supplement is only so good as your training and rest protocol, as well as your daily nutrition of healthy nutritional food that you're intaking? Do you formulate or do your businesses help clients formulate plans and things of that nature, macro plans and things that to maximize the effects of the supplements in that way?
For sure. I mean, nationwide, we've been doing this for a long, long time. I mean, our whole goal, in like a retail setting like that, especially when people are coming to us with advice, it's number one, it's case by case. It's not one size fits all. Like I'm not going to recommend what I would recommend for my grandmother.
Yeah.
Right. But I think I can't speak for everybody and I can't speak for everybody in the industry, but like the better businesses, I would say, take more of a personal approach.
Mm-hmm.
And if if it warrants some type of meal coaching or like the body analysis, which we do really well, and we do DNA testing now as well. If people are open to that, then like we have that process down. But I think ultimately that like, there has to be that rapport and trust building in the beginning. And that probably starts with being personal or asking open-ended questions, not being flat, having a smile on your face. And I think that's where a lot of these businesses go wrong.
Yeah.
Like people, they walk in and they want a solution and like somebody just sells them one product versus being like, hey, well, how active are you? Like, what's your work day look like? What's your sleep program look like? Like, what's your diet look like? What's your end goal? What's your short-term goal? Like, you got like a wedding coming up? Do you have a vacation that you're working towards? Like, is this going to be like something that we're going to do on a 3-month term and have a little more sense of urgency? Or are we building something for the long term, which that's ultimately our end goal?
Yeah.
But there are some people that are working towards short-term goals too. And we have to do our job efficiently, we need to ask those right questions. And I think when you start the process like that, like that switch happens. People are like, oh, like I'm not used to somebody asking me stuff like that.
You actually know what you're talking about.
What you're talking about.
And so then they buy in.
Yeah.
And you create that rapport that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm sitting here right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's the same thing. Like we had a rapport right off the bat. Like people, they gravitate towards knowledge.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is power. So like if you can regurgitate, and talk the talk, they're like, wow, like this guy actually understands like what's going on. And that's a hard thing to teach all your other employees and stuff like that. But, most of our stuff is coachable. It's just like just being open with the client and asking what they need because they'll tell you, if you go into the conversation like with like a helping attitude and you listen, I mean, that's the recipe for, something really good.
Success
Yeah,
in
for
all
sure.
businesses, I think. Like
For the most part, yeah.
if you're trying to solve a problem for someone else, you're gonna be successful in that realm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Is that something that NutriShop as a whole puts together for knowledge base? Do they have, okay, this product's coming out, here's what it does, and then you're able to have that knowledge there? How do you guys as a franchisee gain the knowledge, and how do you gain your knowledge and give that out, like to be able to give that out?
Well, I think that would be a testimony to probably like, our CEO, Brian McLennan. I would say he's a friend of mine. He's a really good dude. Um, you know, he he's built this business where like you have these stores that are doing their things in different cities,
Mm-hmm.
but like as time has evolved, like back then we'd be calling people, but now we have Zoom, right? Now we have corporate, you know, not saying that like anything's perfect. Um, but like like I said, we're like a big family. So like we can call any store in the country and talk to them about like what they're doing for success. But in terms of like how they roll stuff out, like they're like any other big company. They're like, oh, we have these releases coming out. We do conferences. We do Zoom calls. We have a formulator that's actually here based out of Vancouver, and he gets on it. And if you have any questions about like any ingredients or product knowledge, his name's Christian, really good guy to talk to.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting because most people just want to stay in their own lane in business in general, and they don't want to go out and talk to other people. But like, like the top guys in the business, like they're in my phone because
Yeah.
I want to talk. I want to see what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And I think I think the stores that aren't growing or evolving, they're less likely probably talking to the other owners or our COO, the guy. I mean, we have a love-hate relationship because we probably, I talk so much crap to him, but I'm always calling him, I'm
Yeah.
like, hey man, I need this, I need that, I need that, or marketing and graphics team. Like I probably hit them up more than anybody because I'm always trying to be ahead of the curve, and I always want to be putting out new stuff, whether it's new content or new graphics. Um, you know, our business is predicated on doing like corporate wellness and like getting out in the community. We
Mm-hmm.
can't just stay in the four walls of our compound and expect people to walk in. But
How do you implement that out in the community
I mean,
for
there's
your
a
business?
series of different things you can do. I mean, like I was saying, like, our CEO, he's the old school fashion guy. If you ask him, he'd say, go put 100,000 flyers out there.
Yeah.
And some people would say, I hate that. But the reality is it works.
Yeah.
If you go put 100,000 flyers on cars, they're going to come in. Or if you go hand them out to people, like they will come in. That might be the old fashioned way to do it, but definitely works.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes into strategy. Like what does the flyer, um, what kind of offer on it? What's the call to action? Like, is it loud? Is it just a black one where people are like, what is that? Versus like something that's like tie dye
Yeah.
that's going to catch somebody's attention. We only have seconds to catch people's attention now. So, whether it's doing like flyers or person to person, cold calling, using a CRM, email, there's so many different ways. Social media now, and doing different types of sponsored ads or using your own website to draw people through, like landing pages or newsletters or press releases. But I'd say for me that I think in in um in a business like ours, like a brick and mortar, with any business, if you're trying to get out in the community, know your client.
Yeah.
Because if I have 1,000 clients and I know Paeden is, the top dog, horseshoe guy, then like maybe he knows a company that like facilitates like where does that come from, or maybe he knows a ranch of like 50 people that are trying to get into health and fitness, and I'm like, oh, well, let's do a wellness challenge for them. Or maybe I have a client that works at Intel, and I'm like, hey John, can you get me in with the health and wellness director? If you knew your client, then like you could talk to these people that are like, these people have disposable income. Not all of them. Some of them have more than others, but like if some of our clients are really high level people. So if you know them and you know them well,
Yeah.
that's usually where these these deals stem from. It's just like, hey, Paeden, like, I know you work for Intel, like, what's up? Like, get me in there. Like, and you've been using our scanner for the last 2 years, and that brings you back. It's just like, well, do you know anybody else that would benefit from this? It's like, yeah, my entire crew.
Yeah.
And I think when you think outside the box like that, and actually, again, it goes back to just the business practices that not everybody does. When you know your client, like, they're gonna be more willing to help you.
Yeah.
It's like having the cool sports bar. You have some bars you
Everyone
go
wants to
to.
come in.
Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
just like, man, I love John, the guy behind the counter, and I know they're always gonna have a good burger, and everybody's playing football, and like that's your place to go.
Yeah.
And then you have some bars that, man, this place, I'm never going back here again.
One thing that NutriShop does well is buy your order, and not always, but throw in a shaker, throw in, a shirt or this, that, body scans, just giving people something to build that rapport as well.
Well, that's just customer service, though, bro. That's just more.
Yeah.
That's like I said, owning the bar and being like, here's some extra barbecue sauce.
Right.
Like, here, do you want napkins? How many times have you ever ordered something? I'm like, dude, the guy didn't even give me any utensils or napkins, or he forgot my sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. So like going that extra level and being like, and you probably know this for sure, 1000%. Check and recheck your work.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it was like when I was a kid doing something on the farm, or like painting, or my arithmetic in college, or something like that. If you check your work over and over again, it's going to be probably less. It's going to be, less flaws. Probably. It's the same thing too. When you're getting some order wrong, you get home, you're like, dude, this is supposed to be extra crispy. Oh, there's no barbecue sauce. There's no utensils. The guy didn't check his work.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
So,
that it's just customer service.
Customer service.
Yeah.
You'll do things the right way, and you'll do things without complaining, and you'll do things with like an open heart and feel good about it if the end result's gonna like make you happy, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if, like I said, if you're the bus boy at Buffalo Wild Wings, or the CEO that's running a Fortune 500 company. Like, that process it's the same process. You have a job to do.
Yeah.
And are you doing that job? If you're doing that job and you love it, maybe you love being a bartender and that's all you want to do for the rest of your life. But maybe you're like somebody that wants to build something, like you get lost in that process. You're like, and this doesn't even feel like work.
Yeah.
Some people are making drinks and cocktails and they're like that. They wouldn't have it any other way.
And usually those are the people who get lost in the process can be the most successful in that way, because it's not work. Like, then you get to become the really awesome bartender who does all the tricks and things of that nature, and because it's out of enjoyment. Or you become one of the better supplement companies because you love helping people.
Yeah, if you get more surgical with it and you understand it all, like I said, going back to the bartender, you're like, man, this is a mezcal from like Oaxaca, Mexico, and like, we source it from one farm. Like, and somebody's telling you a story about it, you're like, wow, like, and I was talking about this when I was training new employees the other day. It's just like, you either know it or you don't. You don't know what you don't know. And like, I don't care if it's supplements or, like I said, if you're somebody taking my order, if you've been to a restaurant before when a guy was like, you knew he was a skilled waiter. You're like, the guy knew the menu. He was like, you're asking him like, you have any recommendations? He's like, oh, I love this. I love that. Oh, I tried this. This is smoky. This one tastes better. Then you have some servers like, wow, like, I don't even want to give this person a tip.
Yeah.
It's terrible at what they do. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing going into a shop or any business out there.
Yeah.
Right? You could go to a shop and you're like, wow, that guy was like, I had a great experience, like such a great experience that I want to write him a review. I want to tell my friends. I want to take my mom there. Like, I want to go back to that place. And that's the kind of business that you want to operate.
Yeah.
Versus the one where like, that was just so, like, I'll never go back there again.
Yeah.
And we've all had that experience with many different businesses in our life.
Yeah. Real quick, what's the DNA testing that you guys offer?
It's called NutriGuide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a
is that very similar to Gary Brecka's?
It's it's pretty much the same thing. It's like the whole methylation test, and like people, like the methyl folate that everybody's so hell bent on knowing. Yeah. And I think it is important. I think there's a large community of people out in this world that, like, if they knew that they were deficient in certain, vitamins or agents or whatever they need in their life, that, like, the crazy thing about like the methylfolate is that if you don't get it, if you don't if you test where you need it and you have to have it in your life, like you don't synthesize it from like your food, you have to supplement it. So
Yeah.
there are some people that go their whole lives that are technically symptomatic because they're deficient in, whether it's B12 or methylfolate or something, and they're like, oh well, I'm kind of just always tired, and they dress it up by drinking coffee. I'm just always, I always feel this way, and like they have foggy energy, and it's just like, and they think they need Benadryl or something, or they think it's an allergy, but they just haven't done the work. They haven't tested for something that's like, it's so simple that if you just do it, like how Gary Brecka talks, if you just do it one time and you have your results for the rest of your life. If
Yeah.
you did it when you were 18, instead of waiting like us till we're 40. And I'm like, damn, like this whole time I needed that,
Right.
like I have different types of like gut issues, or it does break down like performance stuff, like different types of like twitch your muscle, like what, how your body reacts after dieting, or how your VO2 is. So there are different
All
metrics
through the DNA
all
test.
through the DNA test. Yeah.
Wow. With
I
your
mean, there's a
VO2
lot of
max.
stuff you can learn about somebody just by knowing
Yeah.
their DNA,
Wow.
so they can make tons of different recommendations when it comes to, obviously deficiencies, but then like knowing like hormonally certain hormones that like when you do a certain diet, that you gain weight back faster than the average person,
Yeah.
or your caffeine sensitivity. Like I'm somebody that like synthesizes caffeine very slowly, which is weird because when I drink caffeine, it hits me really hard, but then it stays with me all day. So if I drink a bunch of caffeine at 5 o'clock, it might
You're
be
up all
hard.
night.
I might be up all night.
Yeah.
Or what I've noticed too, because in the beginning of my career, I used to post about this all the time, like sleep when you die, like the no sleep club. Um, it's like that old adage about sleep. Like our parents were right. Like people that love sleep. I hated sleep growing up. Like I don't need sleep, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, I need sleep.
You
I
do.
need I need sleep to
And
function.
you perform cognitively better, physically better.
10 times.
I
10 times.
if you're trying to build any sort of muscle, I feel like it's crucial to seeing any type of gains. Good sleep
I've
in
for
that.
sure gotten a
Yeah.
diminished return on a lot of my, products and workouts, and probably even diet, or whatever you want to call it, over the years, because, early in my career, all I did, fat burners and pre-workout, I lived on that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd only get 3 or 4 hours of sleep, but I think that was actually a byproduct of like, had I maybe taken my DNA test back then, I may have known that like I'm probably waking up in the middle of the night because the caffeine's still in my system.
Yeah.
And that's something to be noted, because as I've removed caffeine from my life, for the most part, I sleep great.
Yeah.
And the root cause could have been the caffeine this whole time. It wasn't just because, yeah, I was also motivated and wanted to work 16-hour days. But part of like that was coming from like me just being restless when it came to stuff. I might as well work then. I can't go to bed. Like I'm just gonna stay up,
Yeah.
work all night.
The epigenetic side of things, how does that mess with the test? Are you familiar with that? Where
What?
the epigenetics is where your environment turns on and off certain gene sequences.
I don't know. I don't
And
know like the how deep it goes into that.
yeah.
I wouldn't be. That's probably not like, I'm not the right person to ask that question.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think. I know that like there are some things that they say like in the test, like that can be affected by your environment. Like your body is um responds differently to certain types of like dyes, like foreign things. Like your body does not like red dye versus some others. Some people have like a natural ability to break down pesticides better. That's in the test.
Oh, wow.
So like,
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
yeah.
so like washing your food and stuff, like
Yeah.
I guess my stomach is weaker, so like if I eat foods that aren't washed really well, like it could affect my stomach.
And that doesn't matter if it's organic or not. You still need to
It
wash it,
doesn't
right?
matter, I guess.
Like
I mean, I can't remember who told me this, but it was pretty funny. But I like ate a handful of berries one time. My buddy was like, "Did you wash those?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Dude, like." somebody out there picking those berries could have been taking a piss and just right there on the berries. You didn't wash them; they're going right
That's
to
just
your
extra flavor.
yeah, right to your hand, right? Farm to table.
Yeah, right.
Literally farm to table. And they could still be organic, but they're just covered in urine.
Organic piss.
Yeah, exactly. Or a fly pooped on it or something.
Yeah.
You know, so you should, I guess the moral of the story is you should still wash your fruit no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody sneezed on it. Whatever.
Has there been a time that stands out where you've worked with someone that comes into the store? Maybe they're overweight, or maybe they are, lacking muscle, and you've got to see that growth within client. Have you ran into those times throughout your career?
Just like transformations?
People's transformation.
I've seen like life-changing transformations. I mean, I've got to work. I have an interesting career because I've worked in Los Angeles, where like you get to meet rich and famous people. Like I've met people that like I'm like, wow, there's that guy. Like I'm at a movie 5 years later. I'm like, well, it puts a smile on my face because it's like that guy made it. You know, or like you see a guy that's on a commercial. You know, that was like because that's where it all is. CBS, all those studios out there. I've seen so many people over the years that were like waiters or bartenders just trying to make it one day, and then you see them on TV one day. Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, and then there are some of those guys that I actually know and have a relationship with some of these people that are famous and on TV on a regular basis, and they're the same people as us.
Yeah.
And I treat them the same. I think that's why some of these people are open to even like exchanging numbers or talking to me. It's just like I never once was just like, oh, I know you. You know, can I get your autograph? Whatever. It's just like, yeah, cool, man. It's like same process.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever change for me. But probably one of the most like highlightable transformations that I've ever seen was a guy that he went from like 50% body fat down to 9, and he had some skin and stuff at the end of it, but you know, he was just, and he didn't have a lot of money either. Like sometimes I would just like, you know, because we're a for-profit business, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, we run sales and stuff. Like there's margin that needs to be made. But there are some people that are like you can decipher that like they really are like a loyal client. Like they're not going anywhere else. And this guy was like, he'd like ride his bike to our store. We're talking like 40 miles to get to us.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, dude, that's how he's losing all this weight.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I just rode my bike from Van Nuys. I'm like, dude, I'm down by the beach. Like, how did you even do that?
Yeah.
You know? And there'd be some times that I would give this guy like some extra love, some extra deals.
Yeah.
To get him where he was going. But yeah, he went from like 50% body fat to like 10. He would come in because, you know, I come from like the triathlon marathon world, and he was doing marathons like crazy. He was just melting his body away.
What time frame?
Year and a half, 2 years.
That's doing
massive. 400 pounds of $160.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Face change, like just weird.
Spirit change,
like happiest person on the planet. I think he was like I think he was some kind of like teacher or something like that. But like we're talking life changing. Like you added years onto your life.
Yeah.
30 years probably from going from 400 to 150.
And not only that, the life around you.
Yeah.
You know, people want to be around you. You're encouraging to others and just being able to bring others up around you as well.
Those types of people for sure are the life of our business. Like those are the people that like they bring other people to us. They're a great they're an example, you know, that like if you stay consistent, that like I mean, and that's with anything in life. If you're consistent, man, like it's just that snowball is just gonna keep gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And it's an unstoppable force.
Like
with this guy, for example, like his name was actually Ernest, but he it's like, when are the results gonna stop? Like every single time, it's like, dude, like how can you get any lower?
Yeah, when you decide to, right?
You know.
Have you gone through any major cuts where you're at 20% and cut down to single digits or anything like that?
I've had my own transformations. I had
Yeah.
my original transformation when I was a kid. That was definitely life changing and changed the trajectory of my entire life.
Which way did you go?
I went from bigger to smaller,
Okay.
yeah, and more agile. I mean, I played sports growing up, and I went from like a more powerful person to like more of like a powerful, fast person.
Yeah.
And it's just stuck with me since then.
Yeah.
You know, I think if it wasn't for health and fitness, that like I believe to me like health and fitness probably saved my life.
For sure.
Living in a place like LA, like I mean, there's a lot of distractions out there. That like, you know, people get caught up in certain things, but like I've always been, you know, and I've told friends, girlfriends, colleagues, I'm like, I got to get back. You know, you fall off the wagon a little bit,
Yeah.
and like you only let yourself go for. I'll only let myself go for a couple of weeks, if that, or a month, if I go on some crazy long vacation or something. But you know, I have friends that are like, dude, I got married or I had kids, and they've been out of the gym for 3 years
Yeah.
or off the wagon. Like I gained 100. I'm like, how did you gain 100? That's crazy, but it happens.
Yeah, I can speak for myself. I took 10 years off and gained like 25 pounds. At the time that we met, that was like my major recomp that I'd
Was
ever
it?
done is yeah, I went from 20% down to 10%.
Yeah.
And just that alone, that's not a huge difference. Like
Yeah.
that's a difference from bulking to, being in decent shape.
That's 50%.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
That's I didn't understand the kind of the emotional mental side of it that it takes to actually stay in a caloric deficit for 16, 20 weeks. It taught me you can have off days, but get back on it as fast as you can. If you blow your caloric deficit for a day, don't let it be 4 days
Yeah.
and go off. Just the same in business, as if you didn't make your calls, if you didn't do the pull the necessary levers for success in your business one day, don't let it be four, don't let it translate into 2 weeks. And because then everything's a delayed effect. And that's what I love about the fitness, or even in a recomp, is that you're going to see, or investing, you're going to see those returns, not today or tomorrow or a week from now, but 2 weeks, three. And it's a month, 2, 3 months out, you're a totally different person from there.
Well, let's flip the script a little bit then. What's on the other end? Like, what is the key takeaway then for you with that?
For me,
Yeah.
I've always fought more of like a depressive mindset.
Yeah.
And self-sabotaging in that way. And so then looking out for comfort, where the biggest takeaway is get back on it. Like take, like feel what you need to feel, but don't let that define who you are.
Yeah.
And who you're going to be.
So if you were me and you were advising people and they were like, they saw your transformation, like what would be the one piece of advice that you would give them then?
I would say find where
in your journey.
Yeah. In my journey is be as calculated as you can. Like whether it's supplementation, if you're serious about it, if you want to see results in a reasonable amount of time, be as calculated as you can with your calories, weigh everything out, go get a DEXA, go to the extreme as much as you can. If it's not a DEXA, get an in-body. If it's not an in-body, have some way to track it. What you don't track, you can't pull the necessary levers to really change. Like I've gone through like kind of a bulking phase this last 3 months. At the end of this month, I'll go back into a cut phase, but I've kind of ran it unregimented. Like I haven't really been tracked. I track my protein and that's about it. And then I don't do it dirty. I try to eat clean, carb sources and things of that nature for the most part. I have an Achilles heel for scones and cookies.
Ice cream.
Ice cream, right?
Yeah.
I would see more effective results if I were to have tracked that bulk more efficiently with cleaner foods. So all that to say is track what you can the most efficient way that you can and make it easy. Like if you're meal prepping, if you have to buy it, then buy your meal preps. If you need to if it's a money thing where you're not able to buy your meal preps, bulk chicken at the first of the week. One thing that I realize is if I can weigh everything in the raw, like for your chicken, then cook it, measure it after it's cooked down, and then you can just cook a whole batch of that chicken. You kind of know the familiar water weight that you're going to lose on that batch so that you're even a little bit more close on things. And then batch everything out for the week, and running a business, doing all of the things that I'm trying to do makes everything else more efficient.
Yeah.
I'm able to have better relationships because I'm not thinking about the 300 things in the background that I need to do to want to do, to better me. It's just I don't think about meal prep anymore. I don't think about this because I took the time ahead, and prepared for the performance ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about preparation.
Right? Yeah.
Preparation usually wins for sure, whether it's anything in life, sports, business, losing weight, for sure. And like you said about being calculated, it's a recipe for success when you can do
Yeah.
that. And you don't, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think most people, especially like I said, like we grew up in a different era. Like the era now, like we as social media, being the new proxy for people to like how successful you are or how liked you are and that kind of stuff. It's I mean, I who's to say, but what my opinion is on it. But um it makes it harder for people to get out of their head in this bubble because they see other people think I want that. And
Yeah.
then there's some jealousy to it um or
Insecurities. Yeah.
insecurities, but they don't think they have the means to do it. And the reality is that a lot of these things that people see, it's not the truth. Like they're seeing like these kids and these influencers and stuff that have like nice cars and all this money and it's fake, or like the guy that's like, writing the plan for, 1,000 people from Australia, not to discount what he's doing because he's doing a good job making money, but he's giving everybody a cookie cutter plan and it's not going to work for you or for me, but it might work for Betty,
Yeah.
you know? And a
Casting a
lot,
wide net.
yeah, and a lot
Yeah.
of people too are using other things like they're natty or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
now. So they're not being forthright with all the
Yeah.
stuff that like they're saying like they're advertising you're gonna get X, but they're giving you Y.
Yeah.
And
False advertising
it's
goes back
false
to
advertising for
back to the
sure.
marketing of
Yeah,
muscle milk.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
in a way.
they're using like I said, other compounds and ways to get what they have,
Yeah.
and not telling that to the consumer. And the
Yeah.
consumer's like, I'm going to look like that if I just eat good and buy his program and buy that pre-workout. It's like, nah, man, like that takes a lot of time and effort and other compounds and things that you're not willing to take.
And realizing what the natural bar is. The Olympian just happened
Yeah,
last weekend. Looking at the natural guys versus unnatural, there's a very big difference, right?
huge, huge.
And everybody wants this gladiator six pack. So much of that is genetic and out of your control.
Mhm.
Where I think the main goal when it comes to fitness is just how do you feel and your overall like taking care of that.
Dude, these guys have been doing it for years and years and years, though. And you make a good point. Genetics is a piece of it. But these guys, it goes back to like when we're coaching people, it's like, man, like you don't have the same genetics as him. Like you don't have a personal chef. You don't have $1,000,000. You don't sleep 9 hours a day. You don't train like this guy. Like this guy is like spelled out. Like people think that like you should be working out every day. Except for bodybuilding, Olympians, LeBron James, football players, these guys aren't pumping iron 6, 7 days a week. They might be shooting a ball or catching a ball and working on their craft, but they're not bodybuilders. Bodybuilders are the only ones really training the way that like people think of.
Yeah.
And most people don't want to look like a bodybuilder actually either.
Yeah.
But they also don't have all the backing, like I said, like a bodybuilder. They're not meal prepping. They don't have the sleep. They don't have all the compounds. They don't have the coaching. They don't have the wherewithal to do that. They just see that they need to go do cardio 7 days a week and
Yeah.
take a fat burner. And they're going to get there one day. It's like,
Yeah. It's more of a dynamic process than that. Yeah.
It's crazy. That's what makes it hard now.
Yeah. How, just to shift gears a little bit, how did you get into being a franchisee?
Well, like I said, I had the short stint in LA working in the
Yeah.
biz, the music biz, and then I met a guy who became kind of like a, you know, like a mentor figure in my life, and he was he used to always tell me like this stuff we're talking about. He's like, dude, because I was in school still, and I didn't have a lot of money. And like I used to tell him, like, I'm eating 6 meals a day, all this stuff. He's like, stop eating 6 meals a day. He goes, start doing, well, start drinking this protein. And he goes, it's cheaper. And I adopted that same mentality for years and years in my business. Like people are trying to eat all this meal prep, and it's not a bad thing, right? I believe in whole food, but like a broke college kid like me, he was like, dude, start doing 3 shakes a day and cut those meals into 2, and you'll save money. And saving $500 probably a month.
Yeah.
And I was seeing great gains. But then I started spending $500 a month on supplements. that was
Easy
that
to
was
do.
the other side of it. And so my career started with them pretty quickly because I was like, man, like, do you guys do like an employee discount or something like that? And if I just pick like a weekend shift up or something, and I still had a full-time job at the time.
What were
And
you doing full time?
I was still doing the music business.
Yeah.
And I worked my first shift on a Saturday one day, and then the next day he called me and goes, hey dude, I'm trying to go out to the Dodger game. Do you think you can work another day? And I worked that Sunday, and like I had like I don't even know what it was. The switch happened. I just met some cool people or something, and had like a big day, like the biggest Sunday he's ever had or something on my second day at work. And I liked it. And
Yeah.
I started hating the other job because of like some office dynamics, and the commute was just absurd. Couple that with never sleeping, never working out. Like it was probably the unhealthiest I've been except for like my childhood, going out, drinking, partying, eating bad, never sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, my day looked like at the office was just like I had to be up by 5 a.m., 4 a.m. to get there by 7, wake up, get ready, and then drive 2 hours in rush hour traffic, not rush hour, but morning traffic.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got home, if you leave at 4 o'clock, I'd leave at 5 so that I wouldn't be sitting there in traffic, but you don't get home till 7. What, eat dinner, then hit the gym. It's like, it's midnight by the time I'm going to bed. I got to be up at 5,
Yeah.
lights out. Like, do that for a year straight.
Yeah.
And then do that freaking where half the time you're out partying too. And like, it's 4 a.m.
You
I got
never
work.
catch up.
And they don't have to go to work. They're chilling at the studio the next morning, sleeping in. I'm like, dude, I got a real job.
Yeah.
Do that for a year straight. Hate your life.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you're getting paid,
or how young you are.
Or how young you are. It was,
Yeah.
dude, it was one of the funnest times of my life. But there's a time and place for that. So I traversed over, not because it was like my health and stuff, but I think that like my roots started speaking, and like, dude, like you're falling off. Like you look in the mirror every day, you don't like yourself anymore. And so like I didn't want that for myself. And I took a substantial pay cut too to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, I'm gonna do something that I like. And then within months it was what I loved. And then within a matter of months it was like, we're the #1 store in the country. And then within a few more months, it's like, okay, cool. Well, now I want a percentage. And then it's like, okay, cool. We're growing. Right. And so as that evolved over time, I started learning the business, Yeah, I guess it's just, when
Yeah.
kind of a deal. Like you just like and one of the best compliments that I could probably get, from an old mentor of mine is like, dude, this guy could sell ice to an Eskimo. Like it doesn't matter if I'm confident that if I had to go sell freaking Barbies tomorrow, that I'd be the best Barbie seller that you could find.
Is there? I find that that's a common trait with a lot of successful entrepreneurs, is the ability to sell and find the pain points and solve those pain points for clients. Are there, what would your key takeaway for sales be?
Well, you have to be chameleon like,
Mm-hmm.
right? I actually met a really cool. I still remember the guy for years because I met so many cool people in my stores. Like I said, successful guys, business guys, entrepreneurs, famous people, um, and it was I like selling. I think that's the name of the game. Is I love the process of like I got you, and people that aren't natural born sellers, they don't like it. They're not meant to be in a sales arena.
Hmm.
My old boss was like that. Like he would get like it was really weird. He would get like mad when people would be like, "You got me," or like, "You sold me." He'd be like, "I didn't sell you. I educated you." I'm like, dude, like take a chill pill. Like, what do you mean you educate? Like, yeah, you gave the guy a little education, but like, you feel mad that somebody's saying that you're selling them. When somebody's like, "Damn, man, you're selling me a lot," I'm like, "Damn right I am. You're getting a fat stack.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this."
Yeah.
You know. But I think to your point, being an effective salesman is um number one, it's just getting personal. Like I said, if you're selling medical devices at Stryker and you walk in and you're like, "What's up, ladies?" and you're all happy with the front desk people and you're bringing coffees in and the doc pulls up and you're wearing an LA Dodgers hat and you're like, "Hey, did you watch the game last night?" And he's a Dodger fan. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, that was freaking amazing." And you're wrapping it up with him and you're asking him how everything's at home and you guys, you're giving him your tickets to the season tickets one day. It's the same thing with our clients too. Like when you establish that rapport,
Yeah.
and it's more about them and not the sale itself. The sale just comes naturally.
That's exactly it, right? Is it has to be about your client and taking care of them
Yeah,
before and
yeah.
enjoying. I find that it could come off where you don't care so much about the person in sales, and that's what gives them a bad rapport. And because people want to know that they're cared for.
Well, if
And
if you can approach somebody as client first and then sell,
hmm,
you'll win 99% of the time because there are those people that like they don't want the small talk.
yeah,
And that's really hard for somebody like me as a coach to coach that because like I've seen a million impressions. I've seen so many clients that like and I talk to my employees about this or people that I've trained and worked with over the years. Dude, I'm a magician when it comes to like selling, but like being able to understand somebody's energy or like if they're just standoffish or when to open somebody up or not. When somebody's like they just put it on the counter like and they just want to go and you're trying to do small talk and you kind of have like that awkward silence. And I always tell my employees, leave it to me to be the guy that kind of pushes a little more. I'm like, I'll match their energy. I'm like, "Oh, cool. How's that, man?" Like more with like kind of a dick attitude.
yeah, yeah,
And people, I'm not a big person, like I'm in shape, but like people might size me up, but when I hit them with the knowledge, like they're like, "Oh, like I'm hitting at their level now because they don't know even a percentage of what I know." And I can really put people in their place. Not everybody can do that. Right. So being able to be creative when you're talking to people and not like rub people the wrong way or give them a bad experience or be too salesy. Because somebody might walk in and be busy and they're like, "Stop fucking trying to sell me, man." Right? Like I just want my protein and I want to get out of here. And
yeah,
if you
yeah.
can dissect that right away, like blow and go, like, "Cool, dude, here. See you later."
You know what they
Then
want.
you can give your time and energy to the next person. It's like, "Oh my gosh, Paeden sent me here and he said you're the greatest person on earth and I need to do my scan and my DNA test and a meal plan and I have 10,000 questions for you today." I'm like, "Damn, I got to handle this." And
Yeah,
sometimes you got to bite the bullet and suck it up and do that.
yeah, yeah,
Because you'll have some extra people that you have to deal with, which is part of the game.
and rewarding as well.
It can be
Yeah,
rewarding. It's not always rewarding. I mean, it's working with the public.
yeah,
That's the hard part.
yeah,
I take the ashwagandha, the stress vitamins. They actually do work, by the way. They bring you down a little bit
yeah.
more even and stuff like that. But working with the public can also be hard because you get people that, ask questions and you do get people too that, I mean, frankly, there are people that will waste your time.
Hmm.
And again, that's something too, that's a skill as a salesman to be like, "Oh, you're doing, you're going through the motions. You got 100 people to talk to and 50 of them are like no brainer sales for sure. And then you got 20 of them that are going to waste your time no matter what you do. And then you got the other 30 that you're in complete control of, right? There's always 2 out of 10 that just, they're going to suck.
How do you discern that?
It's just there was like I used to have a business coach for years, and he broke down a process of like there out of the 10 people that walk into your store, like there are 1 to 2 people that will just never buy no matter what you do, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's like 5 people that like they're coming in to buy. And like if you have a good product and a smile on your face, they'll buy. Could you blow it up better if you're a better salesman? Yes. And then there's like 3 people that like that's up to you. Like you have to curate the program for them. You have to like not get annoyed by 10,000 questions. You have to be a salesman, right? But there are some people that you just cannot, you just do not have their number,
Yeah.
you know, and they will just never buy from you. Maybe they're a secret shopper. Maybe they're just window shopping. You know, maybe they're just they're unsellable, and that's something there's some validity to that. Some people just, you know, I'm probably a pretty hard sale too, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
If it's skincare stuff and you got some, you know, cute girl at the front desk, I'm probably the easiest sale. You know, or if it's at like a restaurant or something, they're like trying to upsell me on a steak or something, like, dude, that's easy. That's light work for them.
Yeah.
To get all the extra stuff. But, you know, when it comes to like, you know, the majority of sales at like the mall or something, like I'm the last person you want to, I'm also the last person you want to try to sell like in a business, like your services.
Yeah.
I'm the worst guy to call for sure.
Yeah. Regular haircuts and things of that nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. What does it take to open a franchise through NutriShop? Or with that experience that you have from opening one, how would you go into opening other franchises? If not saying that you are, but
I've been in all weird types of business. I've done marketing, I've done, you know, e-commerce, I've done engineering, I've done construction.
Do you have a degree in engineering?
No.
Okay.
No, but I had a you know, not to go off topic too much, but I during the pandemic I did a quick pivot and got into like a civil engineer. I bought into a company that was doing things out in Texas, and it was like a perfect timing kind of a thing, right? It's just like retail was destroyed during the pandemic. So it's like, what can I pivot into that's going to be on the up? Well, Biden had just released the Rebuild America plan, and I was like, I had a friend that owned a business that was struggling. I'm like, I'll invest in that. And I think that's with any business though, man. It doesn't matter if you're doing horseshoes and you want to scale to more production and get your name out there and market in a different way, or if you're doing engineering, or if you're doing e-commerce, or if you're doing brick and mortar. It's the same process. I mean, most businesses fail because there's no plan. You know, it's people, product, process. If you have the right people, the right product, and the right process, I don't know how you ever fail. Unless you just don't have any money.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, most businesses, like me and my business partner talk about this all the time. People think if you open a business, you're going to be rich. That's what they think. You open a business, you're rich. No, there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of time and thought that goes into opening a business. But like I said, it doesn't matter if you're a horseshoe guy or if you own a McDonald's. There's some kind of process there. There's some kind of product that you have to have, and you have to have good people that work for you.
Yeah.
So if you can figure that out, you can figure out anything. But in terms of like businesses, whether it's a franchise or opening up a construction business, like there is a vetting process. You got to have capital. If you're going to go to a bank, you got to have a business plan. Probably have to have good credit. You know, you should probably be somebody in your circle has to be well versed in it. Like I'm not an engineer, but I know how to grow a business. And it only took me seconds to look at this guy's P&L and his balance sheet and be like, dude, I know what your problem is. Or just understanding his operation. You know, his operation was terrible because, you know, if you look at Texas, you have Houston, you have Dallas, you have Austin, you have San Antonio. That's that triangle, right? That circle.
Yeah.
You have those 4 big cities to provide a service to, and he only had 1 rig that was servicing these 4 cities. Well, what happens if you break down? Well, with companies that are like, you know what net terms are?
No.
So like if you're like net 60,
Yeah.
that means the second you start the job, you're spending money, all these bills are coming in, you got payroll, you got gas, you got, utilities, all this stuff. And that's when the clock starts.
Because you have 60 days to get paid in, or
no, you have 60 days once the job is finished that they can pay you.
Okay.
So you're always like running up a tab. So like if you have one rig and like you're like halfway into a job, you spent all this money and you have other jobs that haven't paid you because they're net 60, net 90, some of them, dude, you're running out of cash.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because now your rig is down and you might have to be like air flighting in tools and heavy equipment that costs tons of money. And then how long are you going to be down? Did a hurricane just happen? Are you flooded out? Is the job even amendable? Like, can you even get down there and get it done within the time frame? Or do you just leave that job dead?
Yeah.
Right. And then try to move once the rig is back up and fixed. But you're always, robbing Peter to pay Paul because like, you're chasing the money at that point. And so when you're chasing the money, that's not a good place to be in. So my job was to go in there and be like, well, that doesn't make sense, man. Like you're driving from Houston to Austin or Dallas. Those are 3 or 4 hour jobs. You're hauling heavy equipment. You've got guys on payroll. We're paying per diem. Why the hell wouldn't you just have a heavy piece of machinery in each city?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the light bulb moment for me. Like you're making bread. You're making money. Each rig was making $300,000-$400,000 a year, right? Why don't you replicate that and like stop being broke down? And like, that business is weird because like if you're broke down or like if there wasn't checks coming in, a lot of times we would just stop working because if you stop working, there's no more payroll. There's no more bills. There's no more gas being spent. You're just waiting for the checks to come in. But if you're running and gunning all the time, if rig A goes down in Dallas, but you still got rig B in San Antonio freaking turning soil, you got the other rig C in Austin making money, and then you got D out in Houston where we're headquartered making loot. It's like, even if this one's down, you can send out a team to get that, but work never stops.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the turning point. Like that was what I saw.
And you also take care of your people a little better, so you're not laying them off during that time.
You are. Yeah. You're like, hey, dude, you ain't got no work for the next month, because we're waiting on checks to come in. But like again, like it's the same process. Like when your business is all the same. We had the right people, we had the right product, we had the right process.
Yeah.
That's all it was, is those 3 things. If you have, if you obviously need capital to do any business, but a profit and loss looks the same for basically any business. You have different types of things you spend on. You have payroll, you have incidentals, you have insurance. It's all the same when you read it, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like I said, Horseshoe or McDonald's, it's the same freaking thing.
Yeah.
And so if you look at somebody's P&L and you're like, damn, dude, like you actually made a little bit of money last year. Like how did you make money? Like how, and you were down like half the year. I'm like, you were down 6 months last year and you made money. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Why you would not have another rig? Well, he didn't have money. I didn't
have the money.
So that was the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
I had the money.
Was there more of limiting beliefs in financing or, to get the extra rig more than just money? Because I feel like you could just say, I don't have the money, but there's always ways to figure out how to.
You could, but most people aren't smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Most people aren't good at raising capital or finding somebody or going to a bank, even getting a loan. Like you take a guy that has good credit and another guy that has decent credit. They have the same collateral. They have the same shit. And you have a guy that's like never done a business, super flat, no personality, to a guy that's like rolls into Wells Fargo with Starbucks and donuts for everybody. Like, hey, what's up? And they meet Janelle for the first day. And you're talking business, and you got the gift of gab. They're like not even like paying attention to the paperwork.
Yeah,
they're just pushing it through. Versus the guy that like he's like sweating and stuff. They're like, oh well, what about that? Oh, like this is how much you owe on this. So what's this one debt? As opposed to like keeping them talking. Yeah, right. Like there is a skill to that,
and having
selling.
Yeah, having confidence, and you're selling yourself. Yeah,
you're selling yourself. Yeah, there's plenty of people out there that can go to a bank and probably get money easier than the other guy with the exact same assets, right? Or convince their brother to give them money or something.
Yeah.
It's out there for sure. So, business functions the same. Look at Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban, like he owned the Dallas Mavericks. Like that's like all that guy owned for many, many years. And then he got on a Shark Tank, and it's like he's not investing in companies to be the boss. He's investing in the people because they have the people, the product, and the process. They already have it down. The freaking the cookie guy or whatever. He's like, oh, dude, your cookie's amazing. You're freaking got a little facility and you're pumping out numbers. Like, why would I invest in that? I don't got to do shit but write a check.
Done that already in whatever
he has, but he hasn't.
And,
He's never had a cookie company or a tea company or a Barbie facilitator or some girl that makes little rackets or something. He just like he sees. He forecasts.
Knows the levers in business.
He does. He knows everything. He's like, dude, that guy, let me look at that. Oh yeah, that looks good. I'll do it. And just writes off on it.
What taught you some of those levers and like reading a P&L? Like, where did you get your business acumen?
I mean, most of that again was just my curiosity. I think the very beginning for me, going through being young and reading a lot and all that kind of stuff taught me a lot of that stuff. But I think when I started getting into business at an early age, I just hate being stumped. I don't want to look bad. I don't want to like not have the answer. So when that happened, I spent, all my time and efforts researching stuff. And in the very beginning too, though, like my boss, who ended up becoming like more of like a partner to me years later, it was really the perfect storm for both of us because he had money and didn't want to, he was a workaholic, but he wasn't as good at selling and didn't have the same energy as I did. And so I basically became him. So like when bills would come and when all the finance stuff would come and when we would work with the accountant, like I was the one doing it. So I got a freaking,
free education,
a master's degree in business by just being in it over the years. And
you had someone that you could go to and ask those questions to. What are the SOPs?
Yeah, I mean, well, you learn that over the time, like I said, working with different owners, working with corporate, working with other companies that I've been a part of, and then doing my own research, has taught me some of that stuff. And it's gotten easier over the years too, because you find comfort in knowing certain things. Again, like I'm saying, dude, if I don't know it, then like I'm going to hire somebody. That's probably, I think that's any entrepreneur that's good at something. I mean, I know it's probably one of my biggest pitfalls is being able to let go of the power, delegate
the control.
The control. You would say, I'm the best, but it's just like, well, I'm not the best accountant. I'm not the best at doing the insurance or like doing this, or like, why don't I just like delegate these things to like the people below me to just handle it for me instead of doing it all myself?
Frees you up, gives you more margin. You're able to think and handle other aspects of the business,
or you're able to work on the business instead of inside of it. And when you can do that, you'll grow. And if you're trying to scale, I mean, that's really the recipe is like working on it, working smarter, not harder, getting more surgical, getting the right people in place, understanding what your product is. If the product's good, then like that's a big piece of the puzzle. And then if you can process it all and have all the SOPs and all that stuff in line and in order, probably got a pretty good recipe right there. Doesn't mean you'll still win though. It still does not mean you'll win. You got to keep, those three things are probably the recipe, but you got to still like, you can't teach some of these things. You can't teach a kid that's the smartest, brightest kid, to know how to talk to people. That's just a skill. That's like that. It's, I hate to say it, but like communication is like something that I've been trying to, really understand lately with businesses, because you're just like, people just can't have conversation. It's so weird.
Well, that's why I started this, is because oddly enough, I felt conversation and conveying more complex ideas was a weakness of mine. And so what's a better way than to talk to a ton of people and, and learn from them? That's a large part of this. So
that's cool.
Communication is such a important entrepreneurship because you have to sell a vision, right? I feel like and you have to know that vision and be able to clearly concisely communicate what is in your mind and then push it out there, out to the world, capitalize on it. Not to change subjects or anything, just a lighter thing. I make a horseshoe for every guest.
Oh,
And
cool.
so it's stamped with Stoic and Steel on it.
Oh, that's badass.
And so that's your horseshoe, man. It's just a 3/4 folded horseshoe with stud holes punched in it. So on a jumping horse or anything that's in grass, you would put what they call studs in those holes in the back there, and gives them a little extra traction. You can take the studs out, and then they can go anywhere else, because the studs on hard ground will raise the foot up abnormally. But yeah,
That's pretty badass, man. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to see you make one of these sometime.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one thing I've been thinking about doing more of, is, you know, showing what I do. I don't think that what I do is very cool to the public, but more and more people are like, yeah, it's awesome. So might venture into that a bit more. But
Well, funny enough, not to go off topic again, there is a large society of people now, and that are like videotaping like their daily stuff,
yeah.
right? And we talked about this earlier about like Gary Vee and like how instrumental he was to me in the beginning of my career, like his motivational stuff, like where he started, and he's a big YouTuber, and you know, he's one of the best out there for sure. But he believes that in the next 5 to 10 years, that like the guy just mowing his lawn every day is going to be able to monetize that.
Yeah.
Because if you do it, it's repetition. If Paeden's horseshoe channel is something that like you're video cameraing every day and it's just in your background, but people see it, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably 1 million people out there that would love horseshoe stuff.
Yeah.
And they can eventually get to that little realm one day and see it live. Like, what's this guy doing every day? And like it, and then you have that whole cachet, that catalog of all that stuff built up over time, that album.
Yeah.
People are the kid that's already doing opening toys.
Yeah.
Making $50 million a year. He was really the.
Is that I'm not familiar with that.
There's this kid on YouTube. He's like the highest grossing YouTuber, except for like that Beast guy or whatever. I don't even follow this stuff, and I know of it. But he got famous opening toys.
Yeah.
Kid's like 9 and makes 50 mil a year opening toys. But he
Crazy
found that
world.
audience that was like, oh, Timmy's opening his toy today. What is it? And like that little curiosity for other children around the globe took a liking to it. So like we're going to go watch this guy open a toy, and then he's going to talk about it. And he's getting older now, so I'm guessing he's more articulate in the way that he talks, and it's like, there's probably an explanation. I've never even seen the damn thing. I've just seen a couple snippets of it.
Yeah.
But there is a kid that's opening toys that makes $50 million a year, and he's been able to monetize that audience. Just like Gary Vee believes that one day there's going to be a lady that, and there probably already is, that cooks the same breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
And it's going to become Patty's breakfast, morning show every single day where everybody watches her cook breakfast.
Yeah.
And what's for breakfast today?
Yeah.
And as long as you if you can get 1 million people to watch your channel, you could make some serious dough.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think
a buck a person is all you need.
Yeah. Well, it's in my mind, and this is just probably more values than anything, like deep set inside of me, is like, I want to provide value to people. I want to, this is kind of a soft skill here doing this, and totally 180 degrees difference from what I do normally. And I never thought of it as creating value or something that is being created and cultivated, but I'm seeing as things grow and the dynamics that there's a lot of value from what your testimony is of being an entrepreneur, and people really should see that. And that's why it's such a strong thing that I want to pursue. But within that, it's an interesting world.
Yeah. Well, I do think there is value. I'm sure that people could find value in watching an expert do this.
Yeah.
Anybody with any expertise, and I've talked about this with partners over the years. It's like, man, we should be doing stuff like that. You'll find it. You'll find the time
Yeah.
to do something that you love, and if you love it, you'll do it. So my challenge for you at some point would to do that, record it, because I think you'd probably have fun with it, and I think that anybody that I've ever met in my life that has some kind of skill, that if they actually videotape, like even people, my customers, have been like, dude, you should videotape yourself every day when you're at work,
Yeah.
talking to people, and like day 1, day 2, day 5,000,
Yeah.
that if you just have that in order over time, like at some point somewhere, like there's that tipping point.
Yeah.
And that's happened a lot with people that on YouTube and stuff, where like they've just been doing it for so long, and then one day pops up and they
Yeah.
have 1 million subscribers someday.
And that goes as well with whatever business you're in. There's a period of where you just have to put in the reps, right?
There is a tipping point with anything in life.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to diet, nutrition, business, whatever it is
Yeah.
that, like, it's the long game.
Yeah.
It's playing that long game, and you've probably seen it before, where you're like, man, the weight's not coming off, and then one day you look at the mirror, you see your mom, she says, wow, you look great. You're like, you hadn't seen her in 25 weeks,
Yeah.
but you see yourself every day, and you go look at the mirror, you're like, wow, I do look great. Like, you
Yeah.
didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Because it's been happening
It's a little
slowly
bit gradual
over time.
progression of
Yeah.
success.
Over time.
Yeah.
Over time.
What's one thing that you'd want young entrepreneurs to know as they go out into the business field?
Well, if they're actually young, like if they're 18, or I guess it doesn't really matter the age. My advice, if somebody's like trying to be an entrepreneur and like they're
Yeah.
just starting, no matter their age, is that you still got time.
Yeah.
You got time. If you're 25 years old, I'm almost 40, so don't be afraid to go long. Like, don't be afraid to trust the process. Like if you have the people, the product, the process, especially if you have a good product,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, be secure with playing long. Like, you don't need to have it overnight. Nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
So my advice to anybody, I mean, it's different if you're 80 and you want to start a knitting, product or something.
Sure.
But if you're between 20 and 40 years old, you got time.
Yeah.
You look at any of these guys that have been successful, they get successful when they're 50, 60.
Yeah.
Is when they're really making it. And I'm not expecting anybody to be a billionaire, because that's really hard. But if you're just starting out and you actually got something worth fighting for, it's patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
Believe in yourself and
the patience.
Yeah.
If you have patience to, like, trust the process, and like you know that this isn't going to happen overnight, that you got to actually put in the work.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. So that would be my advice: is be patient and trust the long game.
Yeah.
Have that 1, 3, 5, 10-year plan. Don't expect it to happen overnight.
Yeah. I love that. This last week, with Chinese tariffs and whatnot, has the crypto market kind of extremely volatile. A lot of experience in the crypto end of things. What is crypto currency as far as an investor in that space to be successful?
I mean, it goes back to the good old Warren Buffett, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when there's fear in the streets, that's when you should be buying. When everybody's greedy is when you should be selling. But cryptocurrency itself, like on the surface, because I've been in the game since 2015, it's changed.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. It went from something that was just decentralized, meaning there's no central controller, as a clear place of storage for money, like Bitcoin, for example, to, like, just, it's everything now. I mean, you have a company called Proppy, which is like, bringing real estate to the blockchain. You have companies like, the Sandbox and Mana, which are these, NFT, non-fungible token driven, basically projects that have, people and assets and gaming and real estate in virtual worlds that people will pay for. I mean, on the Sandbox, you can go buy a virtual house right next to Snoop Dogg, and it probably can cost you $500,000.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in the future, like it's like The Sims.
Yeah.
It's like The Sims for,
Adults.
for not just adults, for kids.
Yeah.
But for like real life gain. If you were smart enough to buy Sandbox, and invest in it, because the token itself is down, it was much higher at some point, it was like $8 at one point. If you would have bought it at, 50 cents, you could have made some cake. But if you're actually in Sandbox itself and you're chilling next to Snoop Dogg or, some famous sports player, and then you bought real estate inside that, digital galaxy, you can make money on that, because people will sell plots of land. Like, oh, I'm selling my plot of land by Snoop Dogg for 10 ETH, which is the equivalent of $50,000.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a real thing. And then you have AI, you have these different types of cryptocurrencies that are working with like NVIDIA and Intel, and like with GPU and cloud storage now, which has been a big thing, where you have, the whole thought of like keeping data and records and contracts and stuff in old filing cabinets has gone away.
Yeah.
It's all in the cloud already now, but now you have crypto that's decentralizing that. So you think of like Amazon, who owns this cloud, but they own it. Well, now you have like this network that functions like Amazon, but it's decentralized, so nobody owns it. It's all on this giant network that like you can plug your stuff into. And a coin like Filecoin, for example, is a great project that they're probably the leader in that space, but they have endless amounts of storage at like fractions of cost that like will just be uploaded to the blockchain, and it's safe, secure, it's encrypted. So the world is ever changing. But I think from 2015, because there's been a couple different ways. There was like the initial, like nobody, like everybody laughed about it. And then 2017 happened, when like there was that massive crazy run up, when like people got hurt and people got involved and billions of dollars started pouring in. That was a fun time for sure. A lot of that was luck though.
Yeah.
My friend would say, bro, buy this stuff, buy Chainlink at 13 cents. I'm like, Chainlink, what is that? Smart contracts. Oh, how the blockchain is going to talk, how the blockchain is going to talk to the real world someday. I'm like, what is that? Well, now then it went to $50.
What is the blockchain?
The blockchain is basically just, it's where these assets or these projects potentially can live. Right. So
you're talking the crypto blockchain is essentially how would you describe how that all works together?
It's very intricate. So you have different types of, like, you have Ethereum, which is the top dog. It's this giant, and I hate to like try to like visualize it, but let's just say it's a giant blockchain. It's a giant chain. It's a circle. It's basically this decentralized chain, right? Essentially, that there's no one entity that owns it.
Yeah.
Right. And because there is a finite amount of it, Ethereum, for example, let's say there's 20 million of them. If you're lucky enough to have some of them, like let's say you had 300 of them right now, you'd be a millionaire, right? If you have some of these in your access, then you own a piece of that, right? It's digital.
Yeah.
With that though, is that like these things have gotten more advanced. So Ethereum, the way that blockchain works is like, it's basically based on what they call smart contracts. And those contracts, like you basically have other companies, other smart people out there that are developing on top of it. So like that is like, it's like being a coder and using like Java or Python. Like they're building on top of that type of contract or that blockchain or whatever you want to call it. And like it's based on Ethereum. So if you own Sandbox, which is in what they call an ERC20 token, it's been built on top of Ethereum. So its code is Ethereum based, and then they use their own coding around it and build whatever infrastructure that they want. So you have Ethereum. You've probably heard of Cardano or Solana or AVAX. Sui's a new one. You have these other types of companies that are coming out that are trying to like take a piece of that market share, right? Solana is probably the next. Oh, BNB, Binance. BNB is a big chain. But they're basically essentially like these giant projects that have some type of system that you're able to build on top of, and Ethereum is for sure king.
And what's creating the chain itself? It's because when it first was coming out, you could mine Bitcoin or
You still
things.
can.
Okay.
You can mine all that shit.
So how does that work? And because you're building onto that chain and mining it, right?
Well, it's some type of code is what it is. It's some guy that's out there with, most of these guys are probably computer science background guys, coding. And then you have these guys that are like, every field has its own expertise, right? For example, you have, there's a token that I like. It's called fetch.ai. It's basically machine AI learning. And so like they're working with NVIDIA because if on their blockchain, if you plug in certain things into their program, it programs like different types of things that like use AI to increase learning capabilities. Or you have Render, which is another AI one. It uses AI to make like different types of graphics, like graphic cards and stuff for gaming is a big thing. Like you're just using this tool almost as like a portal. But there's no central entity that controls it all. It's like it's on its own thing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's supposed to be more safe and secure. And then you have some of these things that are like finance protocols. That's really where a lot of the big money's coming now.
Yeah.
Is in the very beginning, you had the initial guy that sold his freaking Bitcoin for, a pizza, and he'd be worth $1 billion a day if he would have held on to it.
Yeah.
2010. And you had like a couple weird run-ups, and then 2017 is really where this industry got like mainstream. I was like, oh wow, that people were making money, right? And you had the ICO bubble where like people would come out with like, they'd launch a token and it'd get all this backing, and then it would launch with actual funding behind it. And then we had the big the last one, the 2021 with like the FTT, the Terra Luna big crash, the Black Swan event, COVID. And then now you have like all these different types of ETFs and institutional funding, that's really what's making this industry change a lot, because the big players are coming in like BlackRock and the banks.
Yeah.
Like they've been behind the scenes for so long, not letting anybody know. But dude, every big player is part of crypto now. I mean, you got IBM that was working with Stellar Lumens 5-6 years ago for payment processing, and you got different companies like Hedera Hashtag is working with like BMW and Ashton Martin and Walmart, and Oracle, like big companies. Like these aren't like small companies. These are IBM and Google, Amazon. They're all working with these guys.
Yeah.
The banks are working with them now too, because there's two parts. I won't keep going off too much, but imagine if I wanted to send you $1 billion right now to Africa. Not only would it take weeks, it'd probably cost me $10 million to send it to you.
Because going through the bank
with a wire transfer. If you use XRP, Ripple, I could send you $1 billion right now. It'd probably cost me $1,000.
Yeah.
And it would be instant.
Yeah.
In seconds.
Yeah.
To Africa. It's crazy.
So you're just speeding up all the transfer.
Well, the transaction speed on these blockchains we're talking 50,000 transactions a second. Some of them are doing. Yeah. They're so speedy. They're so fast.
So business transactions can happen so much quicker.
Business transactions, payment transactions are happening. One of the things that I was pretty early in was like the lending. The lending was big. Like years ago, you could like take your Bitcoin and like put it on like an app like Nexo or Celsius, or like there's stuff called like Aave, Compound, like where they basically like yield. They give you like yield. They give you like interest essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a borrowing mechanism to some of these apps. Where like, let's say I had one Bitcoin, it was worth 100K, and I go throw it on Nexo, and your borrowing capability is 60% of whatever it's worth. That means they'll give me $60,000. Because I'm just staking my money, like they're holding. That's the collateral, is the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But there's a few ways to make money now. Well, if I'm long on Bitcoin, like if I think Bitcoin's going to $1 million, I'm like, cool, dude, I'm long. You got my money. It's secure. I just took 60 grand out. I'm going to go throw in the market or go buy a car with or whatever I want. And it's a yield bearing account too. So like they're paying you interest on top of that.
And is it pretty good interest?
Depends.
Yeah.
Some of them are better than others. Like, I mean, when Bitcoin, when crypto was the wild, wild west, there was these companies that give you like 80%. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So there's timing too, because some of these things that were giving 50%, like when that token topped out the last cycle, you should have sold all that. But now that's crashed back down, all that they yield in the currency. So if you own Polkadot, for example, was a big one that I love. That thing went up to $55. So if you're making 10 Polkadot a day, you're making $550 a day. That's some decent money.
Yeah.
You know, $550 a day. And when it was at $55, but now that it's only worth $4, it's only $40 a day. I mean, I'll still take it. I'll take any money. But, you know, when there's a timing with these things too, because some of these things, now that the institutions are involved, like now they're doing the borrowing and the lending. They're like, why don't we put $1 billion in this fund and let people borrow, companies borrow from it now? So companies are bringing their Bitcoin to them and they're holding the lion's share of the crypto now.
And so you're starting to see
manipulation.
Yeah.
There's like that. What just happened a week ago was, I mean, I've been in it long enough to know, and anybody that's smart in the stock market and that kind of stuff know, but like that was pure manipulation. That was the largest crash, not only in the history of crypto, but it was 90 times more fierce than the one that happened during COVID. Happened in like 7 seconds.
Yeah.
I was watching it. I was like, wow, oh shit.
It was overnight. Yeah.
I got all the notifications, everything.
Yeah.
Thank God I had, you know, little DCA action, got to buy the dip. But you know, people get wrecked, and people that are like using leverage and stuff like that, that's really what they were saying it was all about. It's like all that artificial pump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the money in the market is artificial because it's borrowed assets. Well, so if you have a guy that's borrowing all this, you know, Bitcoin down at 100K and it's at 120, like he's making money on that rise because he's borrowing that money. But if you go stop his ass out and dump the market, all that borrowed money, it takes him down and you take all his money.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's on borrowed leverage. That's why leverage it's like gambling.
Yeah.
But I think there was like something crazy, like $10 billion within the first 24 hours. And then total was like 90 billion. 90 billion. There was a guy,
they got stopped out.
They got stopped out. Yeah. My business. Well, there's two things. One, stops. So the stops that you have to safeguard your money. First off, you're going to lose. You're going to get stopped out, and you'll probably not have as many losses. But all that money goes back to the exchange, the people, whatever, goes back into circulation. And then you have the people that are in leverage. And not only are they stopped out, they're liquidated, which means whatever they had as collateral is now gone.
Yeah.
So even big players lost billions. And there was some kid that there was an article about it. I don't know if you saw it, but there was some kid in Dubai that had like $10 million of his own money in like a private fund that he was using to like trade for people. And he had like $60 million in there. And when that happened, he pulled off on the side of the road, killed himself in his Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Because
just lost it all.
Well, no, he had $50 million of people's money that probably were going to come kill him anyways.
Yeah.
You know, all these Russian people and stuff.
Yeah.
So he just knew it was over.
Yeah.
But that's how, you know, the game is changing. Is like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, you could get a little more. You can still get lucky now, but like now, like if you're trying to trade, so it's more like the stock market, right? You know, so the advice for people that are getting into crypto is like either buy on the reddest day possible, like how that just happened.
Yeah.
Like just wait, have your money on the sidelines and wait for an opportunity and just hold.
How do you do that? What one thing is what assigns value to it? Just the overall buy-in, however many people, what fluctuation of the value is predicated on what the marketplace is saying that it's worth, right? Triggers or what assigns it value?
Well, it's the shares.
Yeah.
It's just like owning Intel shares. If Intel was once at $50 and I got wrecked when it went to 20,
Yeah.
but that's what the stock value is worth.
Yeah.
So if Ethereum's at $4,000, that means there's enough people out there that'll pay $4,000 for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the value. If it's
Yeah.
at 4K right now, people are willing to pay 4K, it's going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
When people want to sell it all, then there's always a buyer for a seller.
Yeah.
There's somebody's selling you that token at some point. So
makes sense.
You know, if it goes up to 10K one day, it's because there's enough people out there, especially the banks and the big dogs, that think like there's enough value in it.
Yeah.
The thing that's unique though about Ethereum or, you know, a SUI or an XRP or a Cardano or, you know, ICP or something of that nature is that like there's actual value tied to these projects. Like XRP it's the future of cross. They call it cross borderless payments, like transaction speeds of lightning speed, right? That's the future of payment systems itself. You know, some of these AI projects, the future of AI and machine learning and 3D graphics, and supercomputers and stuff like that. And then you have these big funds like, you know, Ondo and Compound and Aave that like they become market makers, because if you have billions of dollars in this fund, it's like a hedge fund. They're like, dude, I want in that. So these companies are like, I want to throw my $1 billion into your fund, and be in this lending protocol that's giving me interest bearing stuff, and that's lendable and that's secure.
Yeah.
You know, and that like, you know, companies like Franklin Templeton and Fidelity and Vanguard, these guys aren't stupid. These, you know, Goldman Sachs, they're all working with these guys now.
Because a lot of them are put together through real world assets, right? Like that's
the real world assets is what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're becoming real world assets because the tokenization of, like, for example, Ondo is bringing RWA onto the blockchain, and it's doing it through these giant entities that are tokenizing those assets and bringing them to like the U.S. Treasury or bringing them to BlackRock or some big bank or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But they're doing it. They're doing it right now. And, you know, if people were smart enough or had the risk tolerance and the patience, you know, then they could find some of these gems and just buy them. Like, you know, I'm just going to not look at it for 10 years and you'd probably be pretty happy.
Yeah.
There's some things out there that if you bought them now, it'd be like buying Amazon in 1980. Buying it for 5 cents, it's worth $5,000.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think there's a lot of growth in that market too. There's so many people who are on the fence about it. They realize that it's something that's going to be in the future.
It's still early.
Yeah, it's still early to get into things.
It's like the internet, bro. Yeah. We had the internet growing up. AOL, Instant Messenger, all that bullshit. Like that was a real thing. Like the www, like we grew up in that.
Yeah.
But that think about that when we were 10 to now. 28 years later for me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it was around when I was 10.
Yeah.
That's how long the evolution of that took. Same thing with crypto. It's been out since 2010, but it hasn't really grabbed mainstream, like, you know, notoriety or like draw since like probably 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 5 years in.
Yeah.
Imagine 25 years from now. You get in now, it's like buying Facebook at $1.
Yeah.
Right? Basically. That's what it is.
And knowing that you're going to take some losses on some things here and there.
I mean, it's like Warren Buffett said, man, when you buy here, it's all DCAing, man. When you're buying if you're buying at a price that you're okay with, if you buy at 9, but you think it's going to 900, it doesn't matter all the chop in between. I saw this guy on Yahoo Finance the other day. He's like, man, this guy bought it $9. Thing went up to $900, and then it came all the way back down to 5. Then he bought again. Then it went back up to 500, and he came back down. And he bought again at 10. This guy's just DCAing for 25 years, and then now it's at 1,000. Whatever. That's just an example of like how like it just goes up and down, up and down. But if you're continuing to keep your price at a price that you like, but you're going along, like it doesn't matter because the intention is that like you're waiting.
Yeah.
You know,
how do you actually realize that? So realize it in the mathematical sense where say for instance you have $10,000 in whatever coin and you bought at $1 and it goes up to $10, you want to sell out and make
That'd be a 10x return.
When you sell, are you putting that much? You actually sell at $10 and then reinvest that $1,000 back in. You'd have to wait until it drops back down, right? Or is there?
So that's the whole FOMO aspect of things, right? If you bought something at $1 and it went to 10 and you sold it and it goes to 20, you're kicking yourself in the ass. Like, man, I should have waited and all this stuff. It's like, dude, you made 10x. And I think that's the problem with people that don't have the tolerance for it, is that they want to get rich, or they're not used to that dynamic of the up and down and the fear of missing out, or the losing all your money too. There's fear in that as well. But there's an old saying, that old adage that, like, you can't sell too early if you're profitable. If you made a profit, it wasn't a bad trade, right? So if you make anything, like, how can you be mad at that? It's just that people are greedy. Right. So if you did sell at 10 though, it might not ever go back to $1.
Yeah.
You might have missed out.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. The market does have its way with, like, going back to, like, certain levels, you know. So
do you have safeguards in, say, if it goes up to 10, you bought at 1, you're only going to sell out half of it. So you
That's
sell
a good strategy.
5,000 of it, keep 5. And then if it dips, then you buy with that 5 that you.
Depends on your strategy, man. I mean, you could scale it out. You could be selling at every buck as it goes up. You could sell it all at one point and then just go into invest in another project.
Yeah.
Or wait for the opportunity for it to come back down. I mean, you just never know. I mean, there's projects that in 2021 were at all-time highs and they crashed so far down, like 95%. And only a handful of them have even retained their all-time highs. They've come back. And most of them haven't. So it's like, you know, are they going to? It's yet to be seen. But like most of the times with like resistance levels and like sell-offs, a lot of these things naturally make their ways back down to historical levels. So if you ran up to, let's say you bought it at $1 and it went to 10, and then it kept going to 30, at some point somewhere, it may make its way back down to 10, that previous all-time high. And then if something catastrophic happens, it may make its way back down to $1 because there's different levels as you go down.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was like when people were like, Bitcoin will never break below 40 and it went to 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, or Ethereum is never going to go below 2. It went to freaking 900.
Yeah.
It happens. Like there's nobody out there that knows for sure, but there's the technical analysis side of it. But with crypto, you have to be careful because it's very hype driven. Trump tweets something, oh shit, and then everybody jumps on it, fucking skyrockets through the roof.
Yeah.
You know?
Which do you find yourself paying more attention to the little volatile things in your investing strategies, or?
I mean, I think there's some valid reasons to do that.
Yeah.
I think if you want to be caught up in the day to day, then do it. But like that's hard psychologically for most people. Most people don't have the bandwidth or the wherewithal to even be able to, you know, take a loss.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got to be risk averse, and you also got to be okay with taking losses and taking on the chin. You know, I mean, I've been in multiple trading groups in my life, and it's chaos usually. You know, we wake up and some days are good, some days are bad. You'd hope that most days are good, but there's been some bad ones. Yeah, for sure. There's been some mornings that like I woke up before and I was liquidated. You know, some pretty bad ones. And there's been some days I woke up and I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. I was pretty happy. Or you make a really good trade and you didn't think it was going to happen. Yeah. But, you know, I think ultimately when it comes to trading and stuff like that, most people aren't traders, so they shouldn't be a trader. Right. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, like, I hate to say it, but you should only play with money that you're willing to lose. Yeah. Because it's gambling. Yeah. And you know, the third thing is that, like, it's just, again, it's the same thing. It's patience. You know, if you have patience and you can, that's really the only way you win. Yeah. That's the only way you win is if you bought on a week ago and I'm like, bro, you bought H bar at 12 cents. You hold on to that. It'll go to $2 one day. Yeah. For sure. Guaranteed. Yeah. Like I bet money on it's going to 2. Guaranteed. At some point. When, I don't know. But it's going to 2 for sure. Yeah. And that's 20x. So if you go park $100,000 in there, you're going to have $2 million someday. So. Which is pretty good. pretty darn good.
That's a decent return.
That's a pretty decent return right there if you can do it. But like, how long are you gonna wait? Are you gonna be staring at it? Is it gonna be in your phone? You know, like my advice to people with crypto is like, buy some shit.
Yeah.
Don't ever look at it. Go delete the app, or go put it in cold storage and put it in a safety deposit box. Never look at it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Don't even ride the wave. But it's most people, just like business, they think, oh, I'm gonna buy this and it's gonna be like the Bitcoin bubble, which very few people got.
Yeah. That's cool. That's something that I'm learning. It's low priority, but you know, we get to talk about it occasionally, and it's intriguing to me. That's why I ask about it.
You should have a mining operation here.
Yeah.
Let's go invest in a couple of Leo miners and use an Ant-Man 57 and put the damn thing on that generator.
Let's go. Put it together.
Yep.
You mentioned a few things as we were just talking that kind of stood out to me, because this podcast is about, you know, business and how you get better at it, and what you would do and what you wouldn't do, and also how life and how you interact with life, and how that really shapes your idea of life. And as we sat down, I got to explain why there's a fox and a toy horse and whatnot here, and it's just for always having family around.
Mm-hmm.
And you said family's you know, family's important, family's everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked to hear that you're adopted. Like, that's really, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Really, to like see that and see your journey where you're at as a man. How has that shaped your perspective going through that? Like, not having it doesn't seem like you have a chip on your shoulder around it, or maybe you've had to work through those things. And what has that experience gave you in life?
I mean, that's a hard ask. I mean, honestly, I think that I was too young to really know like the surface of it. I think it's probably a little more like traumatic or subliminal or something, that like it's some process that I have to work through. And I may never know the answer. I know that my other brother, my biological brother, was actually greatly affected by it. So I think that affects me as like the collateral damage of it. So I think that like part of that experience for him, knowing, you know, how it's altered his life and like his abilities and like the way that he treats me or treats others because of that, is something that like rides on my shoulder, you know.
And show grace to him through that.
I mean, I think gratitude is a great place to be in life, whether it's for family or friends or for just some guy on the street, you know. But that, like, you know, I think being adopted shows you, like we all know, you know, you told me that you've been married before. And I've been in some serious relationships or whatever, or we've had some really great friends in our lives. But just like when you sign your line on the dotted paper, man, that person becomes your family legally, right? Just like, you know, in war, you probably have a band of brothers. Like, there's people in this world that become family by default, and they might not even be somebody you look as family as you grow older. And then there are people that you come in contact with that actually become your true family. So I think family is a loaded question, right? Because I'm adopted. I don't know my true family other than my biological brother, who's somewhat damaged goods. And then I have my actual family that I would say is my family, because they're all I know. And we have our own things too as a family. So I think ultimately family is what you make it, because like anything in life, again, like you could find your better half, you know, whether it's a man or a woman or something else. And that's okay. Because, you know, there's something to be said about bloodline and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, you could have a family and you might hate them. You know, and so that's the world that we live in. It's been like that since the beginning of time. You know, people, you know, dynasties have killed their own families to take over reign. In years before us. And so I don't think that's any different in 2025. People will kill their own family nowadays for money. It happens every day. So,
family's more who you give your time and energy towards and things of that nature.
What you make of it.
Absolutely. didn't know who my biological father was for a long time, and so I share that with you, is
Yeah.
like knowing, just there could always be a question mark, kind of where that, um where your roots kind of come from, and this, that, and the other. And it's cool to
Mhm.
see that, um you haven't made that your identity. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you've been bigger than that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I just don't think that like I think that it takes somebody with a strong mental capacity, because like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I know just from experience, like with my own brother, like it's something that's been harmful
Hmm.
to him going through that kind of experience. I mean, being starved in an orphanage, not having food, being beaten, burned, that kind of stuff, like that'll hurt you when you're 6 years old.
Yeah.
And funny story, my mom actually said that when we first moved to Idaho, that for the first year, he didn't even eat until I had already eaten because he was afraid there was never going to be food. So like when he learned that adaptation, like, wow, like these people are like here to stay, like we're always going to have enough food in our lives, like that made him comfortable to like actually start eating like a regular person instead of being
Yeah.
like, oh, like I'm just gonna wait till he eats because he's my younger brother or whatever he thought of me at the time.
Yeah.
Because um, I think that stems from the only real story I know from Korea was that when we were abandoned, and then that like he actually got in trouble one time and was brutally beaten for um like saving food, and he gave it to me and they caught him.
Yeah.
So I think that scarred him for life. And
Yeah.
so that whole food process growing up was just like there's never going to be enough food, so he wouldn't eat until I ate.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, to me, it's a testimony of just God's hand on your guys' lives. Like,
Yeah.
do you have a faith?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I I believe in a higher power for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
That's
like to get into religion, but
yeah.
um I think that um if you're spiritual, that like there isn't any wrong religion. I think it's all the same person
Hmm.
or the same guy or the same spirit, right? My mom used to say this all the time when we were kids, like, okay, so just because you were born in Japan and you believe in Buddha, like you just automatically go to hell, or if you're Hindu, like if there's some ever loving spirit out there that loves everybody, whether it's Christianity or being Catholic or whatever, like why would he choose? If we're all supposed to be his children,
Yeah.
right? So I think that spirit or that higher power comes in many different forms, and it probably comes in forms of like different races and religion. Like we're all speaking to the same entity.
Hmm.
Is my thought. But I grew up Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made so growing up Christian, what made the shift in that belief? Like,
It wasn't crazy. Like we
yeah.
weren't like forced to go to church all the time and
Yeah.
stuff. But like I said, my dad, like his parents were old school, came through Ellis Island, built a multi-million-dollar business back in the '60s and '70s. It was a lot of cake back then. That's
Yeah.
cash. It's probably 50 million today.
Yeah.
And they were very traditional, and so he wasn't. He was like a crazy like he was like the renegade, the bad child, He
Yeah.
was very smart and talented and did all these great things, but he was also like a party animal. So, even he didn't even get his inheritance until like he was 35 because they were like, "You're not getting it when you're 18. You'll go freaking end up dead somewhere or something." But, um, I just think my parents were really good at not like forcing us to do stuff,
Yeah.
and like you can't force beliefs on people and then expect them to like be happy about it. So I think, like I
Yeah,
said,
having free will and loving people where they're at.
for sure, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a lot of horrible things happen in my life. I've had friends die and things happen. My dad died, and it's like it didn't bring me closer to God or this entity. I was just like, I don't believe in God anymore because of these things that happened. Like, how could it happen to the pastor's son? If there's a God,
Hmm.
like why would these horrible things happen to people in this world if there's this loving being, right? But it's the way of the world.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like I said, like when it comes to religion, I think of an entity out there
Yeah.
that's ever being,
Yeah.
for everybody kind of a thing. So
Yeah, I see it as more religion is man's attempt to get to God, where having a relationship with God, a continual day-to-day relationship is the foundation, and seeing God's grace in your life, and
yeah.
having the gratitude towards him in that is the foundation of it.
Well, I'm in a lot of
Yeah.
different groups, mentor groups, groups with other men, groups with women as well, and when we talk about spiritual type stuff
Hmm.
and higher level things, higher level thinking, I have a dear friend that I just recently saw, that's very spiritual, that like lives in another country, and it's like I think we find that like higher power and peace with not only within ourselves but within other people, because it's like the other experiences of other people that like show us like where this higher power is coming from. If when you see other people's experience, or things, see tragic things turn untragic, or miraculous things happen in life, that's really like, wow, there's no way that could happen without there's something being out there,
Absolutely.
right? Or
Yeah.
something that happens to you, whether it's
Yeah.
like a favorite number or something that like you're like, what the heck, like something that happened to you that was a noticeable thing that you're like, there's how did that happen? How was I so lucky
Yeah.
not dying or something? I know it's happened to me.
Absolutely.
So
Or
I think our own experiences and being able to kind of channel that and understand that, um, you know, is something that like people have to learn themselves, and they have to be open to it too.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
not everybody is.
Yeah.
Not everybody is happy with themselves. They don't want to get to know themselves better.
Yeah.
You
Or
know.
willing to change if they're called to be different. I think that's a big thing. I um listen to a lot of Cliff Clinic on YouTube. He goes around to different campuses, and he preaches the gospel and this, that, and the other, and explains a lot of why do bad things happen and God allows it, and
Yeah.
this, that, and the other. And I wish I was better at explaining those things, of like, and having a more full grasp on it. Place of growth for me personally, because I want to have those answers for people, and
Hmm.
be a better steward of God's word in that way. God's very real. Getting to the end of it here.
Okay.
This is the part where it's called the Stoic Seven. So it's
Okay.
just 7 questions I ask every guest.
Nice.
And
7 questions.
yep.
All right, let's do it.
Best financial advice.
Best financial advice.
Whatever comes to you.
That's tough, man, because there's a couple of them. I know one would be don't spend outside of your means, like
Yeah.
save money. People
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. But the other one would just be practice patience. That's the
Yeah.
same thing as saving money, though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
Delayed gratification. The old, if you want one marshmallow, you can have it now, or you can have two in 10 minutes. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think that for me, if it was financial advice, I'd say there's two sides, because I'm a risky guy, but I'm also like I grew up saving. So like one side of me would be like, don't overspend, save money. The other side would be like, when you have money, you you got to go for the home run, man. Like
yeah, make it
you
work for you.
you're not you can't make money without spending money once you
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
So take risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not over leverage yourself, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying take risk. It's broad.
Yeah.
Take some risk.
Yeah.
Take some risk.
I like that. You have a tattoo or anything?
Nope.
No. Is there a reason for that?
Well, my goal is to get to 100 countries traveled by 50. I'm at 69 currently.
Nice.
I would be at 100 in my opinion if I hadn't traveled to the same places so many times. Like I've been to Mexico probably 100 times, and I've been to London, Italy, Colombia. I lived in Colombia, Panama for some time, and I've just some of the places that I like, I've traveled to back and forth. And
Yeah.
if I hadn't done that, would I be at 100 right now? Probably, but I like experiences versus like things,
Yeah.
So like the tattoo, when my dad died, I thought about doing something really creative, but there's something about like the natural aspect of like not having like, putting something on my body that like is kind of forever
Yeah.
kind of
And
a
that
thing.
money takes away from your mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going and seeing the world. Best way to recenter yourself when everything's chaotic in life.
Best way to recenter myself. Um, a good old fashioned workout.
Yeah.
And and a nice meal afterwards.
I love it.
A refuel,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. That's a good reset. You have a morning routine?
Morning routine depends. Yeah, usually, I mean, I've been really trying to wake up with a little more patience, you know. Um, I mean, I do have a morning routine. I do like I wake up, I do all like my vitamins. I have like my breakfast stuff already, but I'm trying to like do all that stuff before like looking at my phone,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, and unless somebody's dying, it's like it can wait.
Yeah.
Dude, I probably have 100 messages waiting right now,
Yeah.
but I'm busy.
Yeah.
And like, I think as I've gotten older and done more things and been a part of 20, 30 plus companies, probably maybe, in my life, that like it can wait. Like I said, like you can take 30 minutes in your morning to like read a book or like take a nice hot shower and brush and floss your teeth
Yeah.
and do all the basic fundamental things that most people over time really affect their bodies. You'd
Mm-hmm.
probably be surprised that people don't, like, whatever the metric is, that people don't floss every day.
Yeah.
So waking up, getting hydrated, taking all my vitamins. um my morning routine is stopping,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And smelling the roses for a second. Like, I'm up, it's time to go, gonna get ready for the day, do my thing, take my shower, get my stuff ready, be prepared for the day, and then
Get ready for war.
and then when
Yeah.
and then when I'm in the car, I'm probably on my Bluetooth
Yeah.
and driving in.
Yeah. I love that. How do you give back in life?
Jeez, I've given back a lot of different ways. I mean, it used to be when I was younger, I gave back a lot more monetarily. Um, there's been some ups and downs in my life where I've had more money than not.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be more monetary, but I've learned as I've gotten older, some of the best gifts you can give is time,
Yeah.
because time is something you don't get back. And
Yeah.
so if I'm giving you my time, that's worth more than money.
Yeah.
Right. So I give my time. I give back by I do a lot of volunteering, and that was something that I really adored a lot when I first moved with California, because I didn't have anybody. It's like, what else do I do? Like, what's the best use of time that I could do right now with me just working out and going to work every day? And it was going to the soup kitchen. It was going and setting up events for the turkey trot or the Thanksgiving stuff, or homeless people,
Yeah.
and building that network. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think now more than ever, I had a business partner, actually. He's one of my dear friends, who called me the other day, and we were talking about the stock market, and we were talking about the history and all the things going on. And I was just like, man, and just be patient, and this is gonna happen. This is gonna be happening. He goes, dude, he's like, no homo, man, but like, you're really nice to talk to. And this isn't like the most funny way too, because he's a very serious person, and like, we're crazy guys when it comes to trading and investing and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, dude, you should be freaking, you should open up a freaking trading hotline, because you're just nice to talk to about on the phone. This is right after the crash.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it's just the way of the world. Like,
Yeah.
things are gonna come back. Like, sorry you lost freaking 6 figures for selling too early or whatever happened to you, but next time be more patient.
Right.
But ultimately, like, you're at least in a place where like these things will come back. You'll feel better one day. All the things that you have going for yourself, like, it's just a little, cut.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
But
I would imagine serving that way gives you just a different respect of the bigger picture, of life, of where you're at, and just to be blessed with everything that you do have in that way.
I'm reading a book. I'm trying to do 2 books a month right now and be successful at it. And it was about how, like, it was a book called "How the Dog Changed His Life," or how the dog changes your life. And it was funny. And there was a quote in there that was said something about like, um, how do you think your dog like thinks of you in the morning or in the afternoon? It was something like that. And I thought to myself, like, damn, he's always on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how my dog thinks of me. He's like, this guy never gets off the damn phone. Even when he's walking me, chilling in bed, like, I'm always on the phone.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. You have a favorite joke or comedian?
Comedian. Trying to think who I really love. I really like I can't think of his name. I don't have a favorite joke, but there's a couple guys that who are the guys that you can think of like the top comedians out there?
Man, I watch Kill Tony every Monday
Kill
pretty
Tony.
much. So the like Tony Hinchcliffe is a good one.
I'm talking
Art,
like the old school guys like Chris Rock,
yeah.
um,
Dave Chappelle,
Dave
obviously.
Chappelle, somebody else. It's one of the I think it's a white guy.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, well, he's
Um,
black. Well, all three of those guys are black, but not Tim
C
Allen.
CK is not CK Lewis.
It wasn't Tim
Yeah, it's
Allen.
CK.
It wasn't Adam Sandler. It was one of those guys, one of those original guys that I really loved growing up. I can't think of them. But no, I'm not the biggest
Yeah,
comedic guy.
you don't search for that. Yeah,
Not really.
yeah,
Not really. I'm more informational. Like I like reading. I like watching things like about. I don't even have a TV in my room anymore.
yeah,
And recently when I was down in LA and my bedroom, my place in LA, recently put a TV in there. I'm never there, but like it got me off the book wagon.
yeah,
Cause I get in the bed at night with my dog and I'm just like, oh, what's on the TV? And I turn something on. It's distracting.
yeah,
Or versus like, um, when I don't have a TV in my room, or if I have a book in the bathroom, I'm not sitting on my phone. I'm just reading a book.
yep.
The old-fashioned way. So
Intentional
I'm more
about
about
that.
like learning things. Like there's, if I am gonna watch TV, I there's a lot of documentaries and cool stuff on now. But we always go down that rabbit hole and try to find like a new show, Yellowstone or
Yeah, yeah.
Dexter or something. I'm like, dude, now I'm stuck watching this thing every night.
Until the
It's
end.
not good for the health. It's not good.
Right. What's the most important thing you want to leave the world with?
Um, I mean, in today's age, probably just a good imprint. Like I think if I leave this world, like if my um like when I die, because it's gonna happen to all of us, I think
Yeah,
if people can look back, because I say this all the time, I have thousands of people on my cell phone that I don't even talk to anymore. But if I texted them, like I was thinking about, I was in LA and then there was a guy that I haven't talked to in probably 3 or 4 years, and he works at this killer restaurant called Providence. It's like #1 in the world. It's Ben. And he's in my phone as like Tim Providence, and he used to, he would get us through the list. It's like a 6 month wait or some stuff sometimes. And my girlfriend of mine was like, "Oh, we should go to Providence." I'm like, I still think I had the guy's number. If I had texted him like, "Hey Tim, it's Dan from NutriShop," like, dude, it's been like 5 years since I texted you, but like, do you still
yeah,
work at Providence? Like, he's a guy that like anybody would respond to my text.
yeah,
And I love that. I think that's really important. I think if there's one thing is I just want people to remember who I was, that
yeah,
I was a good person,
yeah.
because I think that stands true for probably 99.99% of all the people. There's probably a couple ex-girlfriends out there that don't think highly of me, but I think for the most part, most people
It's
love
all a
who.
matter of perception.
Yeah, I think most people I enjoy who I am as a person, and I think there's a lot of positivity behind who I am and who I've grown into be as
Yeah,
I've gotten older, for sure.
yeah. You're
So
definitely a light in the community, a light in the
yeah, and
gym.
I think
And
if tomorrow I was on the 10 o'clock news and I died, they'd be like that's how I would be remembered. As people would be like, oh man, that I love that guy.
yeah,
He's good. He was a good person.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
I know it's important.
Thank you.
Absolutely.